As the Rockies getting ready to take on the Reds, first to 3. The Reds will play 4 in Denver right before the All-Star break. So once again, these two clubs playing 7 times. Last year, the Reds, despite having a poor season, won 5 of the 7 matchups with the Rockies. So the Rockies will try to return the favor this year. As we take a look at the Southwest batting order for Buddy Black this evening. Charlie up first, and DJ, Nolan, Mark Reynolds back at first base, Cargo, Ian Desmond, Alexi Amaristo plays short, bat 7, Tony Walters will bat 8th and catch, and Tyler Anderson's on the hill. And we are set to go. And the first pitch of the ball game on the inside corner, a strike from Luis Alberto Bonilla, who is making just his 3rd appearance and his 2nd start for the Reds. He's a guy who was with the Pirates earlier this year and was waived, DFA'd, designated for assignment during spring training. He was picked up on waivers by the Reds. Didn't make their club out of the spring. He was working out of the bullpen a little bit, and then they stretched him out. And they've had all kinds of injuries. Charlie's going to bounce this one foul.
Today's going to be a rarity. Neither position player on either side has ever faced the starting pitchers they're seeing tonight.
That is a rarity, isn't it? Bonilla has pretty good changeup, decent fastball, and this ball is hit in the air to deep center field. Billy Hamilton turns his back, looking up, and it's off the base of the wall, and Charlie has another extra base hit. He leads the National League in hits, and he's in the top 3 in extra base hits, and that is a very nice start.
It's the perfect start. We always mention what the Rockies' record is if they score first. You'd like to see him get over to third base and then get that early run. See the changeup middle. And Charlie, this is what Charlie brings to the table. Bud Black talks about it so often that a starting pitcher has to look at Charlie and be on the defensive, because in one swing, Charlie can turn the game around. The Rockies are 20-3 this season scoring first.
So here's DJ. And he fouls that first offering back. With the weather so nasty this afternoon, it is a gathering. It's not a crowd here at Great American Ballpark. It's always been a hitter's paradise. Game time temperature, it's cooled off, 67 degrees. And DJ wears one. So now 2 on, nobody out for Nolan. Well, you said it a few moments ago, Spilly, when we were talking about the Cincinnati Reds. Their strengths, they've been scoring a lot of runs. Their bullpen, vastly improved from a year ago. Their starting rotation has been taken on water in a big way. And if Brian Price has to go to the bullpen early, I mean, that's a disaster for any club. They have not gotten much length.
The Cincinnati Reds this season have 14 starts of 4 innings or less. That's the most in baseball by a lot.
Nolan takes a look at a strike.
The Red starters have less than 200 innings pitched. That's last in Major League Baseball. And that forces Brian Price to put his relief pitchers to eat up more innings.
That's outside.
I did hear that prior to Bonilla's first start this season against the San Francisco Giants, Brian Price told him, hey, you have 110 pitches. And this came after a 17-inning game in San Francisco. Said you have 110 pitches. You either get through them all in the first inning or you wait till the very end. He threw a complete game in a 3-1 loss. But I'm pretty sure Price told him that again today.
Yeah, they have not won, though, since right prior to that 17-inning affair, and then they had to come back east. They went to Chicago initially, and they just feel like their team is fatigued. 1 and 2 on Nolan. Bonilla's not a big strikeout guy typically. Outfield straight up, and Nolan pokes it off of the glove of Votto. That's going to be a base hit. It's going to load the bases for Mark Reynolds. Votto was protecting that 3.5 hole, but he couldn't come up with it. And the Rockies have 2 hits and a hit batter to begin.
I love it when Nolan shortens his approach and he gets rewarded on a pitch off the plate. It's up. You see Votto, as good as he is at first base, the Gold Gloves he's won several times over, he's not able to knock that down and prevent it from being a hit.
So here comes one of the RBI leaders in the National League, Mark Reynolds, with 35. Mark got a day off his feet other than swinging the bat yesterday. He was the DH in both ball games. Rockies won 5-1 in the afternoon yesterday in the Twin Cities. Fell yesterday 2-0 in the nightcap. Jose Barrios was just terrific in the top pitch games against the Rockies this year. 1 ball, 1 strike. Some guys are still talking about Barrios today. It was nasty stuff.
Well, we compared him in the second inning to the late Jose Fernandez, and we were even saying very similar to Javier Vasquez, longtime Puerto Rican-born pitcher. And Ian Desmond in the postgame said it on his own.
2-1. Mark Reynolds, 12 ribbies in his last dozen games. That's pretty good. Bases full of Rockies, nobody out, just underway in Cincinnati. And Reynolds lobs this to shallow right. It's going to drop, and the Rockies will go station to station. 1-0 Colorado as Blackmon scores. And that is RBI number 36 for Reynolds.
You cannot ask for a better start of the game for the Rocks. I think you look at the at-bats. Starts with Charlie Blackmon getting 2 strikes and shortening up, hitting the double. Mark Reynolds again with an opportunity to drive somebody in, shortens up his swing, gets beat, but he throws it into right field.
Now stepping up, a guy who has always worn out the Reds, particularly here at Great American Ballpark. I remember a couple years ago, he sent 3 into the seats here in a ball game. 1 almost didn't go into the seats, Billy. It went almost into the Ohio River. So Cargo with the bases loaded. And this ball high in the air to right field. Should be deep enough to get a run home. Kivlahan makes the catch. And DJ will come home, and moving from second to third is Nolan. The Rockies are up 2-0. For Cargo, his 12th RBI. Still just 1 out, first and third. Ian Desmond will take his turn.
Quality at bat for Carlos Gonzalez. First pitch swinging, you get the sacrifice fly. But not only that, Nolan's able to move up to third base. So another situation where you can get another run without having to get a hit.
So here's Desmond, an RBI single in the afternoon affair yesterday. And he takes ball 1. I was talking to Desi in the clubhouse today about when he faces a young pitcher, does he watch even more video? And he says actually the opposite. He goes, young guys are still trying to figure it out. He said they can be dramatically different one start to the next. He said, so I actually don't want to see as much video on them. He goes, the Kershaws, the Greinke's, sure. 2-0. And that makes some sense, doesn't it?
It makes perfect sense, because what if I go into this at bat, I look at the last numbers for Bonilla, and it shows me he uses his fastball 70% of the time. Well, in that start against the Giants, he had to. In today's start, he might use his off speed more than his fastball, so you can't count on that.
Well, Desmond in the driver's seat right now. 2-0 count. Bonilla's head may be spinning already. Double, hit batter, single, sac fly. 1 out, 2 runs in for the Rockies in the top of the first. Bonilla, native of the Dominican Republic. Here's a 2-1, and that's a strike. 2-2. He made that start in San Francisco. Bonilla, his previous start was with the Rangers in 2014. And a strikeout at Desmond. So now they're 2 outs. And we'll see if Amarista can pick him up.
It's a big strikeout right there for Bonilla. 2-0 count for Desmond, and worked himself into a strikeout. Bonilla, originally a free agent signed by the Philadelphia Phillies, traded to Texas for Michael Young.
Big name.
And that happened back in 2012. Longtime face of the franchise for the Texas Rangers.
Amarista getting the start at shortstop tonight. Buddy was saying he likes this matchup. Amarista swinging the bat well. 11 for his last 31 at the plate. Pat Valaika played the night game yesterday. Trevor Story's playing for Albuquerque tonight. Ball and a strike. Nolan's at third, Mark Reynolds at first. Ball and 2 strikes on Amarista. Outfield very shallow for Amarista, particularly Patrick Kivlahan in right field. Billy, you remember, I'm sure very well, whenever you see a guy that you're unfamiliar with, the more pitches you see, you get a quick book on ball movement, velocity, the slot it comes out of.
You're looking to eliminate pitches. That's what a hitter's looking to do. If you see the changeup.
This ball in the air to left field, coming on is Duvall. He'll make the catch. So the Rockies pick up 2 in the first, and that's what Tyler Anderson will have in his hip pocket as he goes out to face the Reds in Cincinnati. One of the fastest men we've seen in baseball in a while, Billy Hamilton. He's been doing a good job getting on base. He'll lead things off. Here's the Southwest batting order for Brian Price tonight. Zach Cozart's had an extraordinary year. He's hitting over 350. He'll bat second. The great Joey Votto. Adam Duvall's got a ton of pop. Eugenio Suarez will bat fifth. Jose Peraza will bat 6th. Patrick Kivlahan will bat 7th. Tucker Barnhart, veteran catcher, 8th. And then it's Bonilla. And Tyler Anderson was terrific 2 starts ago. Solid in his last outing. Over his last 2 starts, 18 strikeouts, Billy, just 3 walks. The changeup has come back into play.
Well, for me, it's all about fastball command for Tyler Anderson. And when we watch the strikeout rip that we're about to give you, pay attention where the pitches are. He's using fastball, and he can throw the changeup right off of it. His ability to elevate fastball is one of the few things out of all the Rockies pitchers we don't see a lot of. And I think when we watch Tyler Anderson today, we'll see if he has his ability to use the fastball, throw it for strikes, and then back it up with the changeup.
So Anderson's been staked to a 2-run lead. Always nice when you run out on the mound and you're already leading. Here's Billy Hamilton, and the first pitch is in there for a strike. Sam Holbrook is calling balls and strikes. Jim Wolf is at first. Chris Siegel at second. DJ Rayburn is at third base. And that's another strike. Fastball in either half, 0-2. Billy asking for a clarification of where it was. He's a Mississippi kid. In fact, had an opportunity to play wide receiver for Mississippi State, but he signed out of high school. 0-2.
The last 2 games for Tyler Anderson, his first pitch strike percentage was 73%. Well, why is that so important? Is because it allows him to set up his changeup and his slider.
He's made some mistakes 0-2 though this year, where he's throwing too good a pitch 0-2, and it was a 95-mile-an-hour fastball. Tyler will go do that on occasion. Throw one in the mid-90s. And he got him on a changeup. That was well set up, and Billy Hamilton is strikeout number 1. So a nice start for Anderson. And now he'll have to deal with Cozart. Rockies, by fielding percentage, have the best defense in the National League, and they seem to make a highlight play on a nightly basis, and somebody different every night. Desmond Blackmon and Cargo in the outfield. Arenado, Amarista, LeMahieu, and Reynolds, with Tony Walters behind the plate. Ball 1 on Cozart.
Cozart made an adjustment during spring training with his hands. He started setting his hands on his shoulder like Joey Votto, and right before the pitch comes, he raises them. Last year, he would keep his hands and just keep them loaded, and he would get too tight.
Well, he's hitting 352, Spilly, and you're past the quarter post. He's a career 246 hitter. Last year, 252. The prior season, 258. 3 years ago, he hit just 221. So it's working for him. 2-1 on Cozart. So he's had a little bit of pop. 16 home runs last year. He's on a similar kind of pace this year with 4. There's the great Joey Votto. 2-1, pulled into the seats, foul. Sometimes if you're a fan at a ballpark at Coors Field, that you got to make a catch. Tonight at Great American Ballpark, it's chase, because it's probably going to hit an empty seat, and then the scramble begins to try to find where the baseball is. Not a lot of folks tonight with the weather. Here's a little comebacker. Anderson will lob it over to Mark Reynolds. 2 outs.
And I love what Tyler Anderson just did right there. Sped up his delivery, almost quick pitching Zach Cozart, and then throw the changeup off of it.
It's legal. Why do guys get so angry? And famously in the last 36 hours, Kevin Pillar against our old friend Jason Mott. I mean, they're not doing anything illegal.
They're not doing anything illegal, and Jason Mott has had that in his bag for the last 2 years. We saw it here in Colorado.
Here's Votto taking ball 1.
I know as a hitter, there's times where you get upset because you want the pitcher to challenge you. Hey, 2-0 count, challenge me. And then when a guy throws a changeup, you're upset about it. But that's what they're supposed to do.
They're trying to get you out. I understand the machismo part of it. 1-0 on Votto. And it's 2-0 on Joey. You know, with Votto, you have to throw him strikes. Then you risk the damage he can do. But he walks as much as anybody in baseball. And it's on the inside corner, 2-1.
The way I look at it, when pitchers change a hitter's timing, if you're like Johnny Cueto, nobody complains about it. He does it on every single pitch, changing a guy's timing. And I think you'll see more and more pitchers start to incorporate changing timing in that way.
And a walk to Votto. And that's not a good walk. And there are very few that are good walks. You're up 2-0. There's 2 outs. There's nobody on. As great as Votto is, sometimes I think pitchers show too much respect to the elite hitters. Would you agree?
I would, especially with Joey Votto. If I told you that he's only had 1 season of 30 home runs, would you believe me? Most people assume that he's hitting 30 home runs every single season. He's not.
Now you bring up Adam Duvall. He's hit 9 home runs this year. Remember, he went off last year. Early in the season, people didn't really know who he was, and he made a national name hitting the ball over the fence.
241 last year with 33 home runs and 103 RBIs. First time as an all-star.
It's a big year.
That's a huge year.
They have some bats in this lineup.
Well, the person
Scott Schebler's not playing, who's normally their starting right fielder. He's got 10 home runs. He's coming off the bench tonight.
Yeah, and Schebler and Duvall, they were both fighting for left field last year. And Schebler, who got off to the bad start, opened the door for Duvall to take over. And then eventually Jay Bruce gets traded, and now you have a spot.
Ball and 2 strikes. Duvall is an extreme pull hitter. The Rockies, in fact, will pull DJ LeMahieu and pull him to the left side of the infield. It's just Desmond hanging out with Votto over at first base. Votto, by the way, with that walk, is now reaching 30 straight games. That's the longest stretch going in baseball. He's a career, now 31, I should say. He has a career on-base percentage of .424, which is the highest of any active player. It is 12th all-time. You break down his numbers: 300+ doubles, 200+ home runs. He's ticketed for Cooperstown. He really is, if he continues at this level for a few more years. To Nolan, he can go to DJ. He does, and a solid start for Tyler Anderson. The Rockies will carry a 2-0 lead to inning number 2 at Great American Ballpark. Glad you're with us. On Root Sports is brought to you by the 2017 Toyota Tundra in your hometown Toyota stores. By the Wyoming Office of Tourism, Wyoming is full of adventure. It's time to find out if you are too. That's why. TravelWyoming.com. With Ryan Spilborghs and Jenny Cavnar, I'm Drew Goodman. The Rockies got 2 in the first. They sent 7 to the plate. So it'll be 8-9-1. Tony Walters will be first. Tony started the afternoon affair yesterday and then pinch hit in the 8th inning and walked in the evening ball game in Minneapolis. Duvall runs over, did not have a play. It's 0-1. Rockies had their 4-game road winning streak snapped last night. But again, as we were talking about, 13-6 by winning percentage, second best in baseball to Houston. Boy, they had a great start.
That's a great team.
Really good team. It's not fluky. And Dallas Keuchel's pitching like the Dallas Keuchel of 2 years ago.
I think if you're looking at great teams right now, they all have a really great mix of young players with some veteran players and good starting pitching. I mean, it's the same formula that everybody always talks about.
Back up the middle and chasing, it's Bonilla, and he just did flip it in time to Votto, 1 out. Tyler Anderson will come up. Tyler will take a healthy rip.
Large brace that he's still getting accustomed to wearing on his left knee.
He's getting accustomed to it, but the people who watch him carefully, the Buddy Blacks, the Steve Fosters, the Darren Holmes, they haven't noticed that it's really affected his delivery whatsoever, which is most important.
Yeah, it's the most. I mean, it might affect how you feel at the plate when you're hitting, but as far as his pitching goes, it's been good for him.
1-1. Well, speaking of getting used to doing something you wouldn't ordinarily do, it's kind of amazing, folks. John Gray has been throwing bullpens, and I don't mean lobbing it, and there's no messing around, obviously, at this level. I mean throwing about 90 to 95% with all his pitches with the walking boot on, which will only, when he officially gets it off, will only accelerate the process of him being able to return to the mound. And he told me the other day, just a couple days ago in Minneapolis, that he thinks it's about 3 to 5 weeks before you'll see him pitching again. 2-2. Actually 3-2.
And you never know, he might end up wanting to pitch with the boot on if he pitches well.
I would not advise that. Just the mobility, east and west, you know, fielding your position.
I think it would look cool.
See, I thought it was 2-2, and we had 3-2 up there. Now it's 3-2.
Nope.
No, it's 4-2. You got to go to first. Nobody knows the count, me included. Tyler was hanging around. He goes, "No, I want to hit." It's like scrimmage, right in the fall.
And then finally somebody was like, "Yeah, it's 4 balls in this league. Go to first."
So a 1-out walk to Anderson. Bonilla has committed the Cardinal sin. And that'll bring up Blackman, who started the first inning festivities with a double off the center field wall. 54 hits, leads the league. Justin Turner and Ryan Zimmerman are next with 53. Turner's not going to have any hits for a while. You heard Corey Sullivan during the pregame show. Looks like Turner with a hamstring is going to have to go on the DL for the Dodgers. 3 guys in the NL West. Asked Buddy today if he was concerned with, you know, some of his main guys playing both ends of the doubleheader, if he thought he'd have to get him rest, and he said, he goes, you know, they take such great care of themselves, the Arenados, the Blackmans, and he said, and the fact that it was a fairly quick night game and it was cool temperature wise, he thinks they're just fine. And the temperature makes a huge difference. If you go have to play a doubleheader back in the day when they didn't have a roof down in Miami, Spilly, I'm sure that happened to you a couple times. It just drains you.
Yep. That's how I got some of my starts.
That touches the outside corner. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Curveball. Charlie hitting .320. If you look back to his numbers from a year ago at this time, he is way ahead of the pace he set last year. He had 29 last year, drove in 82, hit over .320. And this is pop foul and is going to be playable on the dirt for the third baseman, Suarez. 2 outs. That'll bring up LeMahieu. Fans, when the Rockies score 7 runs or more, go to participating Colorado Taco Bell locations the next day. Do it between 4 and 6 to get your Rockies taco special. Live Moss at Taco Bell. LeMahieu hit by a pitch his first time up. That's a strike. It is still very cloudy here at Great American Ballpark. The really dark clouds have moved over Kentucky, where Jenny's kinfolk are.
Go to Kentucky.
And that 2 is a strike.
Last year, DJ hit .348 against the Cincinnati Reds, and there's a couple ballparks that everyday players will not allow a bench guy to play in front of them. This is one of them. Most everyday guys, when we came to Cincinnati, the manager would say, hey, do you want a day off in Cincinnati? They go, no, I love hitting here. No.
Take a day off against Kershaw at Dodger Stadium.
Yeah, I'll take that one. Yeah, give that one to Spilly.
Bonilla tried to touch the outside corner again. He misses. 3 and 2. So Anderson will be off with the pitch. Votto will drop behind him. Tony Diaz over at first base reminding him of that. Already 44 pitches in for the 26-year-old. He's Alberto Bonilla. On the ground at third, Suarez will throw out LeMahieu, and that's all for the Rockies in the second. Middle of 2, Colorado 2, and the Cincinnati Reds nothing.
Cincinnati and the Rockies have a 2-0 lead over the Reds. Well, Nolan Arenado, another Gold Glove worthy season for him already at third base. We saw another great play in Minnesota. Ian Desmond was the one playing first base, and well, he enjoys getting those tosses from Nolan.
You know, there's not anybody that I've ever played with that works as hard, you know, on their all-around game, but defense especially, as Nolan. I mean, guys won every award defensive that you can win, and he's still hungry to get better, and you know, it's really impressive.
That's saying a lot coming from a guy that's been in this league for quite some time, in Ian Desmond. He probably has the best seat in the house, playing left field, getting to watch Nolan make plays, or when he's at first base, being able to be across the diamond from him. But he said that stuff about Nolan, also knowing that he played with Adrian Beltre last year. He said that guy's phenomenal. I have a ton of respect for him, but Nolan, he is extremely impressive. He also went on to say, I know I didn't live in an era of Brooks Robinson and get to watch him, but I still would put Nolan right up there. Guys?
Well, some of the folks that have seen both play, Jenny, and you've heard, you know, Walt Weiss, who grew up and saw Brooks Robinson play, said this is the best he's ever seen. And we have heard that from a number of people through the years, through the last few years. Here's a guy that's improved a lot, speaking of third baseman, defensively. Eugenio Suarez, 25-year-old from Venezuela. He was one of the staples in that lineup, Spilly, a year ago for Brian Price. He only missed 3 ball games.
This guy has sneaky pop. 21 home runs last season, 7 already this year, and he's only getting better. I think when you watch a young power hitter at the major league level, they start to shrink the strike zone. They start swinging at pitches that they can handle.
You know, from the time a kid first picks up a bat, you always hear coaches say, swing at strikes.
Yeah, swing at your pitch.
Right. Well, tell people at this level it's hard because a lot of pitches look like strikes that become balls. That's what pitchers feast on at the highest level. Here's the 1-2.
Well, that's also why the longer you play in the major leagues, the more opportunities you have to see certain pitchers and what their stuff is and the type of movement they have. So you can start logging in. I can't hit this pitch. I cannot hit this slider. I can hit the changeup.
And that's a base hit for Suarez. So lead single here in the second. And that'll bring up Jose Peraza. Peraza has been playing mostly second base for Cincinnati. His future will be at shortstop. Right now, that's Zach Cozart's everyday spot, and you're not going to take a 350 hitter out of the lineup.
Peraza is part of a 3-team deal that sent Todd Frazier to the Chicago White Sox.
They've really changed their whole organization the last couple of years, a multitude of trades. The most recent, going to the offseason, was kind of an iconic red in Brandon Phillips going to Atlanta, back home for him. Grew up in Stone Mountain, Georgia. It's a little closer than you may have thought.
I know, talking to some of the Reds personnel, they really like Peraza. Feel it has good speed. 8 for 9 this year in stolen bases. But he's very aggressive in the at-bat. Doesn't like to walk. Doesn't like to strike out either. Only 19 strikeouts in about 150 at-bats. So he's trying to put the ball in play right away.
Well, Peraza went a 15-day period in April, 53 straight plate appearances without striking out. It's the longest stretch this year in baseball. 0-2 right now, though. Scouts look at that. Man, all right, guy's got good hand-eye coordination. Must stay balanced at the plate. Going to put it in play. Did he go? Nope.
Scouts also look at a guy that doesn't strike out a lot, and you start looking at, all right, is he hitting the ball hard, or is he just putting any pitch he sees in play? And I think if you look at if Peraza's hitting the ball hard, the answer is no. On average, the ball comes off his bat at 80 miles an hour.
Left center field. Putting on the brakes is Charlie Blackmon, 1 out. And that'll bring up Patrick Livlehan.
By the way,
Kivlehan, I should say.
80 miles an hour is 8 miles an hour lower than league average. So that's a lot of weak contact. Now this guy, I've been wanting to talk to you about him. Played football 4 years at the University of Rutgers.
Well, we call it Rutgers University, but I know you're from the West Coast. It's Rutgers University, not the University of Rutgers, all right? It's Rutgers University.
All right, but
and you have a Jersey boy behind us in Dougie.
I have.
And he's offended by that.
No, he's not.
He was offended, deeply offended.
Rutgers University.
Thank you, that's better.
40 games, 42 games, which is great.
He was a stud.
He was a stud.
Yeah.
Yeah, had 40 tackles.
Okay, he's a two-way guy.
In 4 years.
That's the two-way guy in major college athletics. I know all those people at home go, Rutgers is barely major college, but
listen,
Rutgers still major college football, folks.
He did not play baseball and football at the same time, though, Drew. He waited till he was done with the 4 years of football before he started playing
He didn't
baseball.
want to practice both. He had to play spring football. You got to be some kind of athlete to not do that in all seriousness. Not pick up a bat very frequently, and then, you know, a handful of years later, you're playing in the big leagues. One on Kivlehan, and this is a bouncing ball to short. Amarista did a great job. He had to retreat because of that top spin hop. And Jeff Houston, I think, explains this as well as anybody. In the infield, when you're in double play depth, when there's a runner on first and you have less than 2 outs, it's your job to turn 1, not 2. So many young kids, they get so excited, man, I'm going to turn to double play. No, your job, field it cleanly, make a good feed to the bag.
Coaches always yell at the infielders right when those balls are hit. Just get the out. And there's times that you'll see it in between hop like that, where if it's slow, they'll ask the shortstop, don't even try to go the short way. Get him out at first, get the out, get 8 out, wherever it is.
And smooth ultimately becomes quick. When you try to be quick,
Not smooth.
Not smooth, and usually some errors involved over a period of time. Tucker Barnhart, the catcher, with a 1-1 count. Good name for a catcher, and he's got the physique of a catcher, doesn't he?
I think Barnhart's a good catcher's name.
It's a good catcher's name.
Bench is a good catcher's name.
Bench is here tonight. The Bench, as in Johnny, as in maybe the greatest catcher of all time. 69 years young. There's the 1-1 on Barnhart. And look, they put him behind the plate. He's flashing signs, and my man Carter, I don't know who that is. He throws a little lefty, and
whoa, you threw hard. Relax, man. I'm Johnny Bench.
I know. Oh, he could be out. No, just got back in. Listen, Bench feigned that his hand hurt. You seen that picture, Johnny Bench holding 7 baseballs in his hand? He didn't need the catcher for soft toss. I mean, the glove for soft toss, guys. Here's his number. Instrumental piece in the Big Red Machine in the mid-70s. That team mashed. World champs in 75 and 76.
That's the last National League team to go back-to-back World Series champs.
Hall of Famers everywhere. Perez, Morgan, Bench. Yeah, growing up. I'm sure you did this in Santa Barbara. Did you play wiffle ball? We know Nolan, he has epic games of wiffle ball on his block with his brother and his cousins, right? And when we played wiffle ball growing up, you were always, you picked a team. And I always picked the Cincinnati Reds. And if Rose came up, you know, and there was a right-hander.
Yeah, you do all the different ones. You do the chicken wing for Joe Morgan.
Right.
All right.
You had to hit from that side of the plate. I mean, now as a we used to do that for hours.
Hours. Yeah,
hours and hours.
My buddy was always the Oakland A's. 1988, 89, 90 Oakland A's. So he's always Mark McGuire or
the Bash Brothers.
The Bash Brothers, and I always picked the Dodgers. So I would always do the hunched over Kirk Gibson.
There you go.
But it also meant I could throw like Oral Hershiser, which was fun. The Bulldog.
He had significant movement with a wiffle ball.
You can get good movement with a wiffle ball.
1-2 on Barnhart. Two and two. Cesar Geronimo. Remember Dan Dreesen?
Dan Dreesen. Nope. Can't say I do.
Played first base, could play the outfield. Big, strong guy. Davey Concepcion, obviously at shortstop. Pulled to third. And the throw to second again will end the inning. Rockies through two, leading 2-0. Nolan will get the swing the bat next inning. In the first, it is time to check our Mako big hit yesterday afternoon. Nolan Arenado, first inning. He's outstanding in every inning, but this year in the first inning, it's been a joke how good he's been. 9 extra base hits, 4 of them home runs. This one off of Irvin Santana as the Rockies were on their way to a 5-1 victory against Santana, handing him just his second loss of the year. He had the lowest ERA in baseball among starting pitchers coming in, a 1.50. So our Mako big hit. Nolan's going to lead it off in the third against Luis Alberto Bonilla. Nolan a single to the right side off the glove of Joey Votto in the first inning. Good fastball, well located at 92. Oh, and 2. Nolan has hit over the last 2 years, 2+ years, 93 home runs. 50 have come at Coors Field, 43 out on the road. 41 jacks last year, 42 in 2015. He's got 10 right now. So far this year, he's hitting 319 out on the road, 282 at home. We chatted a little bit about this, Billy. This is the year, you know, Nolan just, as Ian Desmond was saying to Jenny, he just works so hard at everything. This is the year I think he hits over 300. 1 out.
I don't disagree. I think with the way Nolan's been hitting the ball to right field, it's opened up the entire field for him. Bonilla's starting to settle down a bit, using his changeup very effectively against Nolan in that at bat.
Well, the key is he's gotten ahead the last inning plus. Mark Reynolds dumped a single to right to drive in a run in the first, his 36th RBI. And that's a called strike, so he's ahead again, 0-2. Pretty good career, 750 ribbies. Coming into tonight, Ryan Zimmerman led the league with 38 RBIs. Bryce Harper's teammate 36. Reynolds has tied him up now with his 36th RBI. Votto has 35. And now it's a full count, 3-2. Charlie Blackmon among the top 8 runs batted in with 31. Ball 4. Mark's been doing that almost on a nightly basis, and it'll increase the way he has swung the bat. Guys are going to pass on Mark Reynolds. So Cargo will come up with 1 out and 1 on as we go downstairs to see what Jenny's up to again. Jenny?
Yeah, you guys were talking about not wanting to take a day off when you get to Great American Ballpark. For Cargo, that is definitely the case. 24 games here. He hits .276 with 7 home runs, including that 3 home run game that Drew was talking about earlier. He's hit in 7 of his last 9 games, so he's starting to feel himself coming out of this slump. He said it's more noticeable because I'm only hitting .210. I can't fluctuate that much. I'm trying to get back up, you know, to my normal average in the higher 200s. And for him, he said the weather hasn't helped, guys. It's hard. It gets him out of a routine, and it's just hard to, you know, keep up maintenance on your swing. But he did say he's feeling a more consistent approach, and even some of those outs he made in Minnesota, hard outs, he's feeling like he's making great contact with the ball. So perhaps this weekend, Cargo sitting on 199 home runs as a Rocky, we could see something special.
Takes a strike there. You know, it's going to come. We know that. We've talked quite a bit about it, clearly. One of the other things that Cargo consistently says, and knowing him as well as we all do, he means it. He can, I mean, does he want to hit where he normally does, around 300? Absolutely. He said, but we're winning. He goes, and that's the bottom line. 1-2.
I think when you look at this last week specifically, the amount of rain delays back in Colorado, I think when you're watching guys take batting practice on the field, you can see the true flight of the baseball. So if you had made a mechanical adjustment, you get to see it in practice, and it carries off into the game. The Rockies haven't had an opportunity to take a lot of batting practice on the field.
Ball and 2 strikes. Cargo had a sac fly to drive in a run in the first.
Before we started this road trip, or before the series with Cincinnati, the Reds PR sent us an email with all the different names on how to pronounce guys' names. Like today, Luis Alberto Bonilla is a tough one to repeat. There's quite a few on the Cincinnati Reds. And I'm going to pose a challenge to you, Drew. One from Chad Bettis, who's listening to us tonight. A tongue twister.
2-2. Chad, how you doing? What do you got?
He's doing great. All right, you have to say black background, brown background. 3 times fast. Go.
Black background, brown background. Hold on a second. 2-2. Fouled off.
I tried doing this just to warm up for today's series, and I couldn't do it. So I'm sorry, Chad. I'm not going to do it on air.
Yeah, I'm going to do this during commercial break. Chad, thanks for the idea, though. Mark Reynolds at first. Now I'm going to say everything deliberately. And now it's 3-2 on Cargo. I think you need to go with that. The faux hawk blonde.
For me?
Yeah. You could pull it off.
The Raimel Tapia?
Yeah, or the Luis Alberto Bonilla. 3-2. And that's pulled foul.
All right, now that we've gotten the tongue twisters out of the way, I think based on the last at bat that Cargo had, the fly ball, sac fly, and after seeing several pitches from Bonilla, I would love to hear a home run call from him.
I hope so. That'd be nice. Not going to happen here. Strikeout, and once again he wouldn't give in with the fastball. 3-2. He went off speed, off speed. And now there are 2 outs. Desmond will come up. 3 strikeouts for Bonilla. Desmond struck out on a breaking ball away his first time. Swipes at a fastball. It's 0-1. Desmond hitting right at .333 over his last 10 ball games. Desmond, when you talk about his focus and his leadership, we were chatting today in the clubhouse about ballparks. You like hitting here, like hitting here. He goes, you know what? I don't. He goes, I just doesn't, document each one and pick a favorite. And probably it's not a surprise. I show up and I get ready to go.
Ball player.
Yeah.
I get it. I mean, some people, certain ballparks, they'll say, yeah, this batter's eye, I like playing here. Ian doesn't come up with his excuses. It's just, I'm a ball player. Put me here, put me there. I'll play here. It doesn't matter. I don't think he's picked up the ball very well against Bonilla so far. Struck out first at bat. Seen him chase 2 high fastballs in this at bat.
2-2. Rockies in the first got a double, a hit batter, and 2 straight singles. They had a run and still nobody out, bases loaded. Cargo had a sac fly. And now another 3-2 count. 3 straight 3-2 counts. So Reynolds will be off. Bit of a pattern. He's gone off speed. 3-2 last couple of times, and he goes fastball, and it's on the ground to second, and Peraza will throw out Desmond, and the Rockies are done in their half of the third. 2-0 Colorado, middle of 3. Nothing. It'll be Bonilla leading things off, the pitcher, and then Billy Hamilton and Zach Cozart to face Tyler Anderson in the third inning. Join in on the conversation tonight every night. Send us your thoughts, questions, photos perhaps, Twitter or Instagram. The way to go. Use the hashtag ToyotaTalk. Anderson has walked one and allowed one hit. He has struck out one through the first couple of frames, and that pitch is right there at the knees for a strike on Luis Alberto Bonilla.
Bonilla is a switch hitter, so it makes me kind of curious if he was a position player at all. Whoa.
That's a big hack. His head finished in the upper deck down the third base line. Changeup misses, 1-2. Who is the guy? It always kind of cracks me up a little bit. Guys who are switch hitters, pitchers who are switch hitters, but they're awful hitters.
Exactly. That's why it's comical to me.
1-2. Now, if you were Madison Bumgarner or Zach Greinke and you switch hit,
yeah, makes sense.
Okay,
yeah,
they're pretty good. Anderson fields his position, and there's one out.
Trying to think of other pitcher teammates that I've had that were switch hitters and what their reasoning was.
I'm trying to remember. There's one guy really notable to me who pitched for a long time, was a switch hitter, couldn't hit a lick. Lefty, right. He hit three ways: righty, lefty, and seldom. You know, most good lines are stolen. You know where I got that one from 30 years ago? Our man Irv Brown. And Irv, you're watching tonight. Hope you and Pat are doing great. There's a strike on the outside corner. One of my all-time favorite people. Hamilton struck out his first time. Irv used to say that about our old executive producer, Kenny Miller. Said Kenny was a good player too. Kenny played at Fort Hays State, but just have fun with him. He said he had three ways: righty, lefty, seldom. Hamilton's a switch hitter.
Billy Hamilton, switch hitter,
and he should be a switch hitter, especially the way he runs.
They taught him how to hit left-handed once he joined the minor league ranks.
Well, you told the story about
Dexter.
a guy, right? About one of the top players in the game now, top switch hitters, Dexter Fowler. You were there the first time he.
The very first time, it was during winter development at Coors Field. It must have been 2006 or 7. And Dexter, they put the tee in front of him. They put a ball on the tee, and they said, "We're going to teach you how to swing left-handed." He was like, "Okay." And Dexter's a phenomenal athlete.
Sure.
He couldn't hit the ball off the tee. He kept hitting the tee, and we all looked at each other. I was like, "That's not going to work."
Another strikeout of Hamilton. Well done, Tyler Anderson. That's not a guy you want on base.
Not at all.
2 outs.
So what ended up happening for Dexter when he finally was able to start swinging left-handed, he started strengthening up his left arm non-stop. Dexter's right-handed dominant, and he started just lifting the left arm and getting it a lot more powerful. Eventually, the top hand for the left hand became dominant enough that he was able to get the bat through the zone.
Zach Cozart takes a strike. 2 outs, nobody on. Cozart hit a little comebacker his first time. And Dexter's developed quite a bit of pop from the left side. Dexter was a great athlete, you know, coming out of the Atlanta area in high school. That is a great pickup. Man. Dexter had an opportunity to go to Harvard and play basketball. Miami wanted him to play baseball, but you know, Ivy League basketball is good. 2-0 Colorado. Anderson's been good. Maurice is going to lead it off in the 4th inning. You're talking about the immaculate inning that was thrown last night by Kenley Jansen. You know who else did that this year? Drew Storen, the former National, who's now one of the setup guys in the Cincinnati bullpen. He had the immaculate inning a few weeks ago. This ball's hit hard and it'll scoot into right field. You know what? Peraza was in the neighborhood. It was hit very hard. It's base hit. It just makes, and I'm not trying to pick on Jose Peraza. He's a good fielder. But it just makes you appreciate DJ LeMahieu, because you're thinking if DJ's there, he's going to make that play.
Yep, and that's what we get to see every single day. I think when Jenny was talking about Nolan Arenado and the plays that he makes, the beauty of these trips when you play a team like the Minnesota Twins that haven't seen Nolan play or DJ play, you watch the players in the dugout look at each other and they go, man, like when a major league player is looking at another major league player and say, did you just see that?
Got some speed at first. Got a guy who's been swinging the bat well at the plate, and Tony.
Did Mark Stout say that there was a high school kid that threw 4 straight no-hitters and he's committed to Wake Forest now? That's pretty good.
Pretty good that he's committed to Wake Forest, or pretty good that he
no. That he threw 4 straight no-hitters.
That's really good.
That's really good.
I don't care what league you're playing in.
Pete Rose was asked what record will never be broken. And he answered, and I love the answer. He said Johnny Vandermeer threw back-to-back no-hitters. He said it'll never be broken because you have to throw 3 straight to break the record.
Yeah, that won't be broken. Tony hits this ball to left field, fairly deep. Duvall is there. 1 out. That'll bring up Tyler Anderson. There's a few records in baseball that just will not be broken. I would agree with Rose that it's really unlikely, obviously, that somebody throws 3 no-hitters in a row. 511 wins by Cy Young will never be broken.
Never.
Especially the way the sport is played today. And who knows 100 years from now how it'll be played. But the way it's played today, you're just never going to be in line to win that many games. A little slug bunt with a runner moving. Well, Maurice still have to come back. Back to National League play. Probably wouldn't have had to have done that last 3 days, playing in Minneapolis with the designated hitter in place. You see Stu Cole walking down the line, going through his signs. Rockies 2 runs, 4 hits. No runs, just 1 hit for the Reds. Buddy. He really and understandably likes this club he's got. Barnhart's going to go to second. He's going to get the force, and he's going to get the double play.
It's a nice play. The Reds have been fantastic all season long on the defensive end. It's proof right there.
Rockies up 2-zip.
Great quote. A catcher and his body are like the outlaw and his horse. He's got to ride that nag till it drops. Well, that brings us to our CenturyLink high-speed challenge. You can vote at @RootSports_RM. Who was the best catcher in Major League history? Was it the Reds' Johnny Bench, Yogi Berra, Pudge Rodriguez, or Mike Piazza? Again, go ahead and place your vote at @RootSports_RM. We'll let you know the answer in the Toyota post-game show. I talked with Mike Redman, of course, the Rockies bench coach. He was a longtime catcher. I read him that quote. I said, what do you think about this? He goes, you know what? I like the toughness of it and the mentality of it. And it's no offense to Johnny Bench. We just played in very different eras. So I understand what he's saying. I said the same thing to Walters. He said, I love the passion behind the position. And that's what you get no matter what decade you play that position of catcher. Obviously, as the decades have gone on into Walters' era, they're catching a much higher velocity pitcher. But the purpose remains the same as the catcher. You have to be durable. You have to be tough at that position. And of course, Johnny Bench was one of the best of his era, guys.
Yeah, I think there will always be a link, I don't care what era it is, with guys that put on, as it's been affectionately called, the tools of ignorance. You catch, you are a brother.
Backbone. Backbone of the team.
Joey Votto takes a strike at the knees. First time up, he walked. It's Votto, Duvall, and Suarez. 3, 4, and 5 in the Reds lineup. Rockies got off to the fast start. They're up 2-0. Bonilla has come under control since then. It's downstairs, 1-1. One of my favorite ways to describe what a catcher does, and again, this has been said many times, but with any young catcher, Tony Walters plays this way, Ryan Hanigan, Dustin Garneau plays this way. There's an energy you have to bring. This is slicing down the left field line, and it is just foul. That would have been a double. But think about this, the catcher's behind the plate. 8 guys, 8 of your teammates are watching you. So even with nobody on base, let's say there's a ball in the dirt and it kicks away about 10 feet. If you go walk after it, pick it up casually and lob it back to the pitcher, everybody else is going to play at that speed. As opposed to pop out of your stance, you pick it up, grab it, fire it back to the pitcher, and then you hustle back behind the plate. Now everybody's got to bounce in their step. 8 guys are watching you.
Yeah, you're right.
You set the standard.
You set the standard. High energy, high IQ catchers. And you can look at a guy like Buster Posey.
To short. Amarista's got it. Votto's the first out of the inning.
And Posey doesn't have a lot of, it doesn't seem like he has a ton of energy, but when you watch Buster go out there for a pitching change or go and talk to a pitcher, he sprints out there and he tells him, he gets in their face and he said, let's go. And I think you're right. When you watch good teams, good catchers, good energy.
Jenny's got a little bit more. Jenny?
Yeah, Drew, I loved that analogy. You were telling me about that yesterday, how you explain it to young guys, that the catcher's the only position facing the rest of the field. So I actually brought it up to Tony Walters today, and he said, to me, I've always played with energy. It's an important part of who I am as a person, but in the catching position, it's the most important part of my game. I am a reflection of the infield, and I have to give them that energy. He said, I really think it helps our defense get more outs. I try and set the pace and the tone of what the pitcher's doing, so they're always on their toes. And when you look at the fielding percentage of this team, I think it is reflective on what Tony Walters does.
Yeah, and I think you can actually, Jenny, to embellish that even more, you can help with the tempo of a pitcher, which ultimately helps the defenders behind him by throwing the ball back with some velocity to the pitcher.
Yeah, I love it when guys throw the ball right back to the pitcher with some velo.
Cutter or slider in, and it's bounced foul, 1-2.
We get a good chance to see Tony Walters' new mask. You can see the extra padding that Keith Duggar, that's the Rockies head trainer, has added to the mask. It's a lot heavier now. He told me today, after catching a bullpen, he said, man, this thing's a lot heavier, but it's going to give him better protection against any future concussions. He's also waiting on a mouth guard. A lot of guys are now wearing mouth guards to help prevent concussions.
In every sport. 1-2. I like where that was located, trying to get him On a high fastball, 94 miles an hour. Duvall did foul it off, 1-2. And you can see that's great location right above the top of the strike zone on the Subaru strike zone. So Tony's going to have those football traps by the end of the year. He's been wearing a helmet for 6 months, right? One, two, see you later. Beautiful pitch right on the inside corner at 95. Tyler Anderson has had great command of the fastball tonight, and that sets everything else up. Two gone, and Eugenio Suarez will come up. He had a single up the middle to lead off the second inning. 3 strikeouts for Anderson.
Well, a number that has stuck out for me over the last 2 starts with the fastball command, 73% strike rate, and as a result all the numbers just change for him.
And that's a strike. Off-speed delivery.
Well, when you're throwing strikes at the fastball, everything else can fall in line. You see the strikeouts per 9, those increase significantly. Opponent batting average, those will drop significantly if you can command the strike zone, and that's something Tyler's done so far now in 3 straight games.
That's a great 0-1 pitch. I mean, it's really an unhittable place to put in play with hard contact.
Not down and in. Down and in is basically a foul ball off your foot or you swing straight through it.
2 strikes on Suarez.
Tony wants to go back inside again.
One and two. Was out over the plate a little bit, fouled off.
Be at Coors Field when the Cardinals come to town on May 26th through the 28th. Purchase your tickets online at Rockies.com.
This ball leaned on to deep left field, and Desmond leaps, can't catch it. Home run for Suarez, and now it's 2-1. That's his 8th of the year.
I can hear Tyler Anderson yell right after he threw that pitch. As soon as it came out of his hand, he knew that pitch was going to get hit hard. Pitchers know it. The hitter knows it. When you get a mistake down the middle, especially with 2 strikes, center cut, and you can see the reaction from Tyler Anderson.
That's something I said earlier. Tyler Anderson has given up some home runs this year. He's given up some 0-2, 1-2 home runs and doubles where he's in the driver's seat. So get him out of the inning. That took a high hop. Amarista has it. So a 2-out home run by Suarez, and now it's a 2-1 ball game. Now, despite the fast start by the Rockies, they got to start figuring out Bonilla again. On Root Sports is brought to you by Subaru. Love, it's what makes a Subaru a Subaru. By Jack in the Box. Come try the new guacamole and bacon sandwich only at Jack in the Box. And by Southwest Airlines. Yes to low fares with nothing to hide. That's transparency. Drew Goodman, Ryan Spilborghs, Jenny Cavnar. Rockies up 2-1. They have the top of the order in the 5th inning. Charlie Blackmon a double and a foul out down the third base line. He'll face Luis Alberto Bonilla, who allowed the first 4 to reach in the ball game, but only 3 have reached since then. Charlie, not against a shift, but against a shade, a heavy shade, trying to lay down a bunt.
Well, Charlie can feel that the Rockies need to respond after the home run last inning and try to get another run across. You love the start that the Rockies got off to, 2 runs in the first and then nothing.
And that's hit on the ground to second. 1 out. LeMahieu will take his turn. Rockies have lost 5 of their last 6 against Cincinnati. Again, they lost the season series 5-2 against the Reds last year. Last 12 at Great American Ballpark. Rockies have won 6. Cincinnati's won 6. But if you look inside the numbers, and this may be surprising, the Rockies have more often than not won it with good pitching as opposed to outslugging Cincinnati. They've hit only .250 here over their last 12, but the Reds have hit even lower than that. And you always think of Great American Ballpark for home runs and a lot of offense typically. 1-1. And that catches the corner. It's 1-2.
It's a good mix of pitches for Bonilla. After the first inning, settled down, found the changeup, and then has been sprinkling in a third secondary pitch, the slider, in some hitters counts.
That's a good pitch right there. It's a good breaking ball, and he's been able to get ahead, and he's been able to work that outside corner with effectiveness. 2 outs.
The first 10,000 fans on Saturday, May 27th, will receive a Nolan Arenado jersey, courtesy of King Supers.
This is a guy that was let go by Pittsburgh, didn't make the Reds during spring training, had an unsightly ERA. It's not like he was tearing up AAA either. He was called up just because they've had so many injuries. Nolan hits this high and deep down the left field line. It's going to go foul.
It almost came back.
Yeah, Duvall thought he was going to have a play, and he almost did. Anthony DeScalfani out. Homer Bailey still out. Rookie Davis, the guy who has a big arm and hit during spring training, inadvertently hit Ian Desmond, out. Brandon Finnegan out. Tony Cingrani, one of their late inning guys, out. Well, guess what? We were talking earlier. Chad Bettis out. John Gray out. Rockies have dealt with their own set of injuries. Pitchers, position players, part of the sport. That's where the Rockies have improved so much, the depth they have. 2-1 on Nolan.
There's that off-speed pitch. He's able to throw in a fastball count. Rockies hitters looking to jump on a fastball. Bonilla's pulling the string on him.
Going back to his curveball. That was left in a hittable spot.
You see Tucker Barnhart right there going through the different signs, his suggestions. Bonilla shaking him off. Sometimes you'll see a catcher go, all right then, just throw it. Let's see what happens.
Three and two.
Well, he hasn't caved.
All right, not going to throw a
3-2.
fastball.
Nope.
I would be shocked if you see one finger. He wants a shake. That's why no signal. He shook off the fastball and he goes to the changeup.
And that's probably the second or third time in that at bat to Nolan Arenado that Bonilla shook off Tucker.
Third walk allowed by Bonilla. Top of the fifth inning. Mark Reynolds coming up. Mark a single to drive in a run in the first, and also a walk. One and one. Mark Reynolds hitting a neat .362 in the month of May, which is the 5th best National League average. Charlie's right there also. An easy play for Suarez. That'll end the inning. So Bonilla, after the rough start, has really settled in nicely. Rockies continue to lead. It's 2-1. Generally is on Friday to join us. Buddy, how are you?
I'm doing well.
Good. Tyler Anderson's throwing the baseball well, isn't he?
He has really liked the combination of the fastball change like we've talked about over the last couple starts. You know, he's mixing in his quicker delivery as well, as you guys see, so he's keeping him off balance.
What do you see with Bonilla on the other side? Jump out 2 runs early in the first inning. Has he been able to settle down with those secondary pitches?
Yeah, changing speeds big time. The changeup is effective. The breaking ball, enough velocity to keep us honest, but it's more about the off-speed pitches for sure.
Hey, buddy, do you like coming here playing at Great American?
Well, it's great history here, Drew. I like, I like the fact that we saw Johnny bench today. Shook his hand. He was in our dugout earlier, so that was cool. But great tradition here in Cincinnati with baseball.
Absolutely. Good luck the rest of the way, buddy.
Okay, guys.
So Tyler Anderson here in the bottom of the 5th. We'll see the lower third of the lineup. And again, big thanks to Buddy for joining us as he does every Friday. Here's Patrick Kivlahan, the right fielder, and he takes strike 1. Kivlahan reached on a fielder's choice in the second. 0 for his last 12. This doesn't happen a lot. Kivlahan hasn't had a hit in his last 12 at bats, I said, right? He had a 4-hit ball game on May 6th. Usually, man, I feel great. I'm rolling into the next day. He hadn't had a hit since then.
Beauty of baseball.
That's one of Buddy's favorite lines, when a reporter will ask him, either before game or after game, hey Buddy, look at, had this happen, and why do you think that happened? Buddy said, it's baseball. Which means there's not necessarily a reasonable explanation. That's inside, 3-1. I think it's a big inning. He had the home run by Suarez to get Cincinnati on the board. Bonilla, another quick inning. Tyler Anderson's got to match that. Get the Rockies right back to the dugout. Reestablish yourself. He has thrown the ball well. Not just 2 hits. And he loses Kivlahan.
It's not a good start, especially when you're looking at the bottom of the lineup for the Reds.
Tucker Barnhart steps up, and Bonilla's at 92 pitches for the moment. He's going out in the on-deck circle.
Well, I haven't seen a Reds relief pitcher start to move around, so my only thought process is going to be Bonilla's either going to bunt or bunt when he comes up.
And if you're Brian Price, their bullpen has been really good this year. However, it's been one of the most utilized bullpens in baseball, and at some point in time you're going to take on water if that trend continues. So he may opt to try to get another inning out of Bonilla because he's throwing the ball so well. And again, it's not a 4-run deficit right now for Brian Price's team. You're talking about a 1-run ball game. Reds have lost 6 straight. They've been better at home. They're 12-10 here at Great American. Though a lot of their splits are almost identical. They're hitting 262 Spilly at home. They're hitting 263 on the road. Their on-base percentage is identical, 327 home or away. Slugging percentage identical, which makes the OPS almost identical.
They can hit. Very athletic, good hitting ball club.
Good spot. 2 strikes now on Barnhart. One and 2.
You see Tyler trying to go inside on the Subaru strike zone. Not able to get that pitch. See if he goes back in.
Got a strikeout of Barnhart for the first out of the inning. And that is the 4th strikeout for Anderson. Bonilla will come up. And Bonilla, they're saying that hit him, and they're giving him first base. How's that not a foul ball? That's one you got to look at. That's always the.
Well, Buddy's going to get an explanation. He's curious what's going on.
We had one of those earlier this year, and it worked against the Rockies. That's Buddy saying that hit the bat.
Well, he said he was bunting the ball.
That's the other thing too. If you offer it, it's just like if you swing and the ball hits you, it's not a hit by pitch. Yeah, you know what? I think it's the right call. He's pulling the bat back.
Yeah, he's not. It doesn't look like it doesn't look like he's making an effort on that Subaru Supermo. But for Brian Price, they
hit him on the right hand.
That's a bad case scenario for him. He's trying to extend his starter to get another inning.
Well, now you have 2 men on. And Billy Hamilton coming up. The Rockies nursing a 1-run lead, just 1 out. He has struck out Hamilton twice in the game.
And this is where Billy Hamilton's speed comes into play, because this is a situation he could
lay down a bunt
into any direction.
Mark Reynolds is in on the grass, and he swings away, which does not take the bunt, folks, out of play here.
If he bunts down third baseline, Nolan's going to have to sprint, make a bare hand. If he pushes towards first, which I think is probably the better play when you see a left-handed pitcher on the mound with a knee brace on, because now it becomes a sprint between Billy and Tyler Anderson.
Second may be the best option to get an out, because you have Bonilla at first. Depending what kind of coverage you have in the infield. Sometimes second becomes vacant.
Well, and that becomes Mark Reynolds' awareness. Former shortstop, college shortstop, and his ability to just have great baseball IQ. Dougie just dropped a number on us that is surprising. Billy Hamilton has no bunt hits this season.
That is shocking. 2 strikes the count. Anderson will be chasing another strikeout here at Hamilton. Runners going, throw to third. They got him by a bunch, and that's the end of the inning. Wow, did the Rockies turn that thing around? Kivlahan took off. Walters threw him out by 10 feet. Hamilton strikes out for the 3rd time today, and the Rockies get off the field, still leading 2-1. Let's check our Cooney Lexus look back. Rockies had a quick start. Mark Reynolds dumped a single and a right with the bases loaded. The first run scored. Charlie Blackmon had led the inning off, the ball game off with a double. Then Cargo hit a fly ball to right. That would bring home the second run. That's all the Rockies have, though, as Alberto Bonilla has settled in. And other than this home run by Eugenio Suarez, Tyler Anderson has pitched a very fine ball game. We go to the 6th. With the Rockies up 2-1, Drew Goodman, Ryan Spilborghs, Jenny Cavnar. Rockies with 4 hits, just 2 allowed by Anderson. It'll be Cargo, Desmond, and Amarista, 5, 6, and 7 in the Rockies lineup. And the Rockies, we talked about the depth of their lineup. And though Cargo takes a strike and is yet to get going, the Rockies in the 5 through 7 spots in the order have a combined 800 OPS this year, which is the 2nd best in baseball. Normally you'd expect that kind of number to emanate from an American League team.
A lot of teams liken the Rockies lineup to an American League lineup.
Cargo with an absolute missile to center field. That came off the bat at about 100 and something or other. Leadoff single for Gonzalez, and that'll bring up Ian Desmond.
I want to revisit the last play to end the inning for the Cincinnati Reds. You look at the strike him out, throw him out. Well, part of the reason why is they're anticipating Tyler Anderson to do the slower leg kick towards home plate. And Bud Black in that 5th inning was talking about how Tyler's been speeding up his mechanics. Right there, it comes into perfect play, and it becomes a head scratcher if you're a Cincinnati Reds fan.
Became a thank you from the Rockies standpoint. Hanging breaking ball ripped to the corner by Desmond. Cargo to third. He'll stop there on a double by Ian Desmond, and the Rockies have runners at second and third, nobody out in the 6th. Remember, we talked about find a way to get back to the dugout quickly, because momentum had kind of slipped over to Cincinnati side of things after the home run in the quick inning last inning by Bonilla through the thick part of your lineup.
Well, not only that, now you're curious if getting hit in the hand has anything to do with losing feel for Bonilla. That pitch just sitting out right over the plate, and Ian Desmond jumps all over it. The Rockies need to capitalize.
Absolutely, and you're in the 7th spot in your lineup. So this is a big AB for Amarista. Infield comes in halfway. And the outfield, as they've been every time Amarista comes up, has been shallow. And we know that despite his diminutive size, Alexi's got a little pop in his bat. Wandy Peralta, very effective for the Reds, is now up with the pitch count nearing 100. Ball and a strike on Amarista, the former Padre. 2-1. Get all these big folks coming through the lobby late at night, strapping guys, and you see Alexi and you think somebody brought their little son with them, right?
That's what they say about you too, though.
Yeah, that's okay. What did I say? High and deep right field, way back, and gone. 3-run home run for the little ninja. Told you he's got some pop. Alexi Amarista makes it 5-1. How big of a swing of the bat was that?
That's Bud Black's secret weapon. Pocket Hercules.
Buddy Black told us about 2 hours ago. I asked him, I said, what was it? It wasn't a loaded question. Why Amarista tonight and not Valaika? What was your thought process? He says, I just like the matchup. Buddy Black is pushed all the right buttons so far this year.
He knows his guy. You can see on the Supermo. That looks like an off-speed pitch that just spun right into Amarista's barrel. He deposits it right into the Rockies bullpen.
Kivlahan gave the nice effort. That was nowhere close to being caught. And now Walters with a great bunt. Forget about it. Tony Walters a bunt single.
That's heads-up baseball. I love it when hitters take advantage of the situation. Tony taking advantage of right after a home run's hit. Oftentimes a pitcher will try to just get right back and throw a strike. And with Suarez deep playing third base, it's an easy bunt.
Now you're going to see another bunt, you would think. For Amarista, his 20th career home run, his second this year. Dougie just handed me a note, a brilliant one, which he, it's usually once an inning that we get a degree of brilliance from Doug Marino. He said Tony now has more bunt hits than Hamilton.
But not the musical.
Not the play.
Yeah, not the musical.
Amarista. Every once in a while, James.
He's still working his swing, what it felt like.
He's working on his home run
he's
trot.
Doing it again. There's not a better feeling in baseball, hitting a home run, regardless of what the score is. But when the score is in your favor and you get to reenact it in the dugout, and now he's talking trash to everybody that's around him.
And it's got to feel a little better also when you look at this. Billy, I know it's a big league, so it's not as common. When you look out there and you go, man, they're not respecting me, right?
Look how shallow they're playing.
That was one of Buddy's guys when he was in San Diego.
Amarista's home run ended up traveling 362 feet.
Barnhart is going to have to go to first with this one. So Anderson gets that bunt down. And with one out, Tony Walters at second. Here comes Blackman again. Brian Price is going to come out of the dugout. The way this bullpen's been going for the Reds, I can't tell you, I can't overemphasize how big a swing that was by Alexi Amarista. 2-1 to 5-1 with one swing of the bat. Tell you about the pitching change when we come back. 5-1 Rockies. City and the Rockies on this Friday night leading 5-1 with one out in the sixth inning. Charlie Blackman getting ready to hit, and he's going to face hard-throwing left-hander Wandy Peralta.
He comes out of the bullpen throwing 96 miles an hour with his fastball. Also has a changeup and a slider to go with his mix.
They think he has the ability to potentially close games at some point.
You see a little Aroldis Chapman in him with his mechanics, how he turns his body.
Well, if he's 97, it's Aroldis Chapman light.
Yeah, not quite.
Charlie fouls that off. Blackman a double to begin the evening, and he would score a few minutes later on a base hit by Mark Reynolds. He's fouled out and grounded out since then. Tony Walters with one out is at second base. He had a bunt single after the Amarista 3-run homer. And then he was bunted to second by Anderson. That's upstairs. 1-1.
As many innings as this Reds bullpen has had to eat up, 201 opponent batting average against them is the lowest in baseball.
They've been great, but you wonder at some point, will they take on water with all of the use? It's Ted Power. He's pitching coach. Former Red. Let me correct that. That's Jenkins, not Ted Power. This is shot down the third base line. It's going to go as an infield hit. All Suarez could do is knock it down. I don't think he would have had a play either way, even if he comes up that cleanly. So 2 on now for LeMahieu.
Take that hit any day of the week. Tony Walters at second base could have almost ran himself into the out. That's the only way that the Reds would have been able to find an out. And Tony heads up base running. After he saw Suarez not have an opportunity, he quickly retreats and not take a chance to try to get to third base on that.
DJ 0 for 2, hit by a pitch and scored in the first inning. Good heater at 95.
Every time you look at the Subaru strike zone, these Reds pitchers have been living around the strike zone. Rockies have had an opportunity to add on runs, just haven't put those quality at bats and piece them all together until this inning.
Two balls, 2 strikes on LeMahieu. Rockies trying to break this thing wide open. They have 5 hits in the inning. Just 4 entering the frame, and 3 of those 4 came in the first inning. Bonilla from the 2nd to the 5th was outstanding. But again, you come back to something that we chatted about earlier. It's Billy, you've made this point a number of times the last few years. When you face a guy you have no familiarity with, it takes a little time to figure out ball movement, release point, etc. Third time through the lineup, the Rockies have really turned the game on.
Yeah, it's always a huge separator when a pitcher can go through the lineup 3 times. And that's sometimes when you'll see a pitcher show a certain pitch that time through.
Now it's 3-2.
And I'm also curious if getting hit by the pitch during that sacrifice bunt attempt had anything to do with the loss of feel for Bonilla, because he was cruising.
This ball is hit well to left field. Duvall's got a long way to go, and this one is going to hit the base of the wall. Walter scores easily. Here comes Blackman right behind him. 2-run double for LeMahieu, and now the Rockies have broken it open. It's 7-1. RBIs 12 and 13 for LeMahieu. That was quite an at-bat by DJ.
Well, he fouled off a bunch of pitches. It was all around the strike zone the entire at bat. Looks like a slider. Sped up DJ LeMahieu. He just pulls it down that left field line. Hits the wall. Charlie Blackman, because of that kick, he's able to score from first pretty easily.
And now the 8th man to hit in the inning is Nolan. Arenado a single in the first, struck out swinging in the third, walked in the 5th. Rockies trying to send the Reds to their 7th straight loss. Coming into this series, Bonilla, albeit in just 2 appearances, had an ERA of 4.85, but that's the low ERA of the 3 guys the Rockies are scheduled to face. This ball crushed high and deep left field. Take a good look, you won't see it for long. Nolan with number 11, and now the route is on. It is 9-1. RBIs 29 and 30 for Arenado. This was a 2-1 game about 10 minutes ago.
That's the fast strike offense that the Rockies can throw at you. You have to tip your cap to the Rockies offense for putting it together, but watch how fast Nolan is inside. You cannot go in there. I don't care how good your fastball is. Nobody's quicker on an inside fastball than Nolan. Nobody.
Well, here's the thing. It's like when you know you pass the house and there's a gate up and it says beware a dog. When you go in there, man, you got to beware.
Yeah, there's a sign there for a reason.
Put a little Rottweiler on that fastball. One and 2 on Mark Reynolds.
Here it is on the Subaru Supermo. In slow motion, it still looks fast. That's how quick he is inside.
And a base hit for Reynolds. We were talking to some people with the Reds prior to the ball game, and they were raving about Wandy Peralta, and rightfully so. The league's hit just about 100 against Wandy Peralta coming in. But since he's entered the ball game, the Rockies have gone single, double, 2-run home run, single. And now Cargo is going to have his 2nd AB of the frame.
This is why you never look at a relief pitcher's ERA. They can have a blow up like this. And the blow up came at the exact right time for this Rockies team.
Cargo, a sac fly, a strikeout, and he started the rally with a line shot single to center. He takes a strike.
This is probably not a fun at bat for Cargo, left on left. But in a bat like this, when you get a left on left, a hard thrower, it forces your timing. And it forces that front side to stay in a little bit longer.
We saw a number of quality at bats last weekend when the Rockies were at home against the Dodgers, and they threw 4 straight lefties at Colorado, and Cargo felt a whole lot better about where he was at the end of the weekend. Now, this time he loses the battle to Peralta. 2 outs, and that'll bring up Ian Desmond, who had a double to the left field corner in his first at bat of this inning. Hey, everybody gets tacos tomorrow. Fans, the Rockies hit the magic number of 7. Don't forget, to go to your participating Taco Bell locations between 4 and 6 mañana. The Masa Taco Bell. A 7-run inning. Biggest inning the Rockies have had so far in 2017. And this goes to the backstop. Mark Reynolds will move up 90 feet. And the Rockies with this inning have just broken the will of the Reds.
It's Grateful Dead weekend. There is a buzz around this ballpark throughout the day. They'll get fireworks tonight. I just don't think they were expecting it in the 7th inning, 6th inning.
Everything's shaking on Shakedown Streets, Billy.
You just blew Doug Marino's mind. Did we just become best friends? Is that what Doug's thinking with Drew?
Dougie's so proud of me right now, he can't stand it. Doug just said, he goes, I know I've taught you something finally in 16 years. Dougie almost fell out of his chair. 1-2. Just inside on Desmond. Now 3-2. Desi, the 11th hitter to come up here in a 7-run 6th inning, and that guy's the big star of the frame. A 3-run home run, Alexi Amarista, and he's going to get another chance at a 3-run home run. Spilly, at any point in your career, T-ball, we're going to do a Tulo here. Go back to T-ball. Yeah. Did you ever hit 2 bombs in an inning?
No. I told you I made 3 outs in an inning.
You hit a double play, didn't you?
I hit into a double play, and then I ended the inning with a pop out.
Was that in the big leagues?
No, thank goodness, no. I was in AAA. I was in Las Vegas. So the way it went was leadoff hitter gets a base hit. I come up, 6-4-3, standard issue. They start hitting, and as it's getting closer and closer as this rally's going, I'm thinking to myself, please don't come up to hit. I don't want to make an out. And I end up having this 12-pitch at bat against a former teammate, a lefty. And he's throwing changeup after it. And the game's out of hand. It's gone sideways, but this is a battle between him and I.
It's personal now.
To make 3 outs in an inning. He knows I've already made 2 outs. And as soon as I popped out to end the inning, my whole team's laughing. He's laughing. I'm not laughing.
You're crying. Marista went. It's 0-1. Did you ever have 2 hits in an inning?
No, but I do know another great analyst that we have.
This is 2nd hit in the inning for Amarista. He's going to have 4 RBIs in the inning.
What an
That's
inning.
pretty good. Have an inning, Lexi. The Rockies are up 10-1. An 8-run 6th inning here for Colorado at Great American Ballpark.
What an inning for Alexi Amarista, putting the ball in play off the tough lefty, off the side of the mound, almost hitting Chris Siegel, the umpire, at second base. That's a nice inning. Corey Sullivan, 2 triples in an inning. That's who I was getting at with the 2 hits in an inning. I've never had 2 hits in an inning.
I remember when Sully did that.
I was in San Diego.
Tony had a bunt single earlier in this inning. He takes a strike. So Alexi Amarista becomes the 62nd. Well, it's the 62nd time it's happened. I don't know if it's the 62nd guy in Rockies history to have 2 hits in an inning. The last Rocky to do it is playing tonight. DJ LeMahieu last August had 2 hits in an inning at home. First inning against the Cubs. Alexi, a 3-run home run and an RBI single here in the 6th. Ten runs, 13 hits, 9 here in the inning.
Alexi feels like he's 6 foot tall right now.
Yeah, buddy had a good feel for this one, huh?
Yeah.
It's a former starter, Michael Lorenzen. Peralta came on with 1 out after the sac bunt by Tyler Anderson, and he is about to throw his 36th pitch. Bonilla threw 102 pitches. Full count. He'll get action on the base pass. Desmond's at second, Amarista at first. And now they're loaded up for Anderson.
Peralta, up until this point, only had 4 walks. So you can see after some guys, especially relievers, after a certain amount of pitches, they lose all command.
Well, you just said that, and he's not close on the first pitch. Barnhart's going to go out. I think they lose command, Spilly, and you've seen this firsthand. I think they lose focus. He's looking up. It's been a disaster. It's now 10-1. The ball game's gotten out of hand. And not that he's not trying to make quality pitches, but the focus is just different, isn't it?
LaTroy Hawkins knew there was a number. He said 28 pitches is when he lost his sinker and he lost his command. Now at 39 pitches for Peralta, he's not going to have much feel. Luckily for him, it's a pitcher hitting.
Pitcher's got a pretty decent swipe. 1-2. Wasn't a bad hack there by Tyler Anderson. Got a piece of it, so it remains 1-2. Got the barrel out on that. It's an all-speed pitch. 1-2.
He's taking good swings. Rockies 7 for 9 tonight with runners in scoring position. That's a nice number.
That'll win you some games.
397 for the month of May.
That will win you some games.
That will win you some baseball games.
Rockies are 10-6 in May, and Peralta with the strikeout of Anderson, and the Bronx cheer here in Cincinnati. 8-run inning, 4 driven in by Alexi Amarista. He began it with a towering 3-run home run. Nolan went deep as well. 10-1 Rockies. Albuquerque. Trevor Story beginning a rehab assignment in Albuquerque. And tonight he had an RBI single in his very first at bat, playing shortstop for the Isotopes tonight and Glen Allen Hill. So good news. Trevor's going to play there over the weekend and then hopefully return to the Rockies in the very near future. Alexi Amarista, Pat Valleca have been babysitting shortstop in his absence. They've been doing a pretty nice job, Spilly.
Good luck. But there's okay. I mean, it's not technically.
You're used to seeing that on your scorecard in golf. But when you got a snowman there in a baseball line score, you want it to be your snowman.
Based on my handicap, I'm not allowed to write an 8. So
one of those guys.
Yeah.
First pitch popped up foul, and Nolan and Tony may have a play. This thing was kind of working back. It was one of those things that initially you thought it was in the seats, and then it ended up coming back toward the field to play. Cozart behind 0-1. Tyler Anderson at 81 pitches. The only run he allowed was a home run to Eugenio Suarez with 2 outs in the 4th. He's allowed only 2 hits. Been a very good outing for Tyler. Boy, that is a nasty changeup. And I think it's harder, isn't it, Spilly? Because when he goes with that quick motion and then you get the changeup out of that.
There's a former teammate, Matt Herges, was known for doing it. He would take his time and then slide step changeup, but not typically out of the windup.
Went back to it, misses 1 and 2.
Pitching's all about disrupting a hitter's timing. That's all it comes down to.
That's down the line, and it's fair. Into the changeup, maybe one time too many. And Zach Cozart, he's hitting 352 coming in, has a double. It is time for our mini Countryman player profile. Joey Votto. We talked about the career on base percentage, active players included. He is #1, 12th all time. Needs a home run to tie the New York Met, now Jay Bruce, for home runs in Reds history at 7th all time, I should say. 232 he's sitting on. And he popped out the other day. And this one always blows me away. He pops out. Spilly, think about it. He pops out like once a year. How is that? Will you explain that to me? How does a guy not ever pop out?
I don't know. I have no answer for that one. When we started watching, and I think there was a time frame too, Drew, he didn't pull a ball foul. He went an extended period without ever making a foul ball to the pull side.
It's amazing. He has 5,000, listen to this, folks, 5,614 plate appearances. He's popped out in the infield 16 times in his career, and 7 of those were way back in 2008 in the dead ball era. Come on. And he hits home runs. So there's got to be loft in his swing.
He has 1,449 hits, 232 home runs. Only one season did he hit over 30 home runs. Only 2 years did he ever have more than 100 RBIs.
Well, because he walked so much. Let me ask you this: how many times do you think he popped out? I'm still into this pop out thing. How many times do you think he popped out last year?
I hope he pops out right here.
How many times last year do you think?
0.
Zippo. A pop out. 2-2 on Votto. Cozart at second, nobody out.
Votto is signed through 2020. 2024.
And he didn't pop out, but he struck out. And Tyler Anderson has his 6th strikeout of the evening. 1 out, and that'll bring up Adam Duvall.
2024. That's 7 more seasons to go. Think about that.
Crazy. Duvall tonight, a bouncer to third, and he was caught looking on a fastball. Cutter on the outside corner for a strike. A friend of mine just reached out via text. Good baseball man. And just wrote, Spilly's got a snowman on his card, and we have snowmen in the yard in May.
Sorry to everybody in Colorado for the awful weather. I'm glad at least you get to watch Colorado Rockies baseball in Cincinnati.
With the fire going.
Yeah. In May.
In May. In the latter part of May. Two strikes on Duvall. Here's a little programming note for tomorrow. The game schedule between the Rockies and Reds right here on Root Sports is a 4:10 game. 3:30 we were on the air with the pregame show local time, which means it's 1:30 back home. Kind of a tweener time. Late afternoon start time here in Cincinnati. Center field, and it'll drop for a hit, and a run will come home. 10-2 on the RBI single for Duvall. That's his 30th RBI. Cozart scoring.
The first bike to the game of the season is Sunday, May 28th. Ride your bike and enter win great prizes courtesy of UC Health. Get more info at rockies.com/green.
I'll bring up a Eugenio Suarez single and a home run. He has 2 of the 4 hits tonight against Tyler Anderson for Cincinnati. Ball, 1 strike.
Well, today was National Bike to Work Day. And unfortunately, people in Colorado probably couldn't bike to work. Did you bike to work today?
I jogged. What time did you roll out today? We got to bed late.
I was pretty worthless today. Okay, wait.
As
Hold
opposed
on.
to.
Yeah, hold on.
Oh, no,
Yeah, can of worms. Here we go.
Don't put it on a tee for us.
I like to say that I was spending majority of the morning doing stuff that was active. I can't sit here and lie to you. What I was happy about was that when I looked at what time I woke up at, which was about 11:30, I still had 2 minutes to order breakfast.
Good for you. No, it was late though. I mean, 3:30 we got.
Yeah, Lights out, 3:30.
Kind of snuck up on us, too.
It really did. It was the hour time difference.
2-2 on Suarez. And he's gone on a called strike 3. Strikeout number 7, second out in the 6th inning for Tyler Anderson, and that'll bring up Jose Peraza.
I may or may not have watched La La Land today while I was laying in bed. Great movie.
I've yet to see it.
It's fantastic.
Peraza, ground ball toward DJ. He's got it, runs to the bag, and that's all for the Reds in the 6th inning. They did get a run. Cozart scoring on a base hit by Duvall. To the 7th we go. The Rockies up 10-2 in Cincinnati.
Yeah, that's one sad cow. And kicked out of his seat.
His demeanor never changes, though. He'd be sad. You want to know why he's sad? Because the last time that the Reds gave up at least 8 runs in an inning was almost 2 years ago. You know who it happened against? The Colorado Rockies.
Really?
Gave up 10 runs in an inning at Coors Field. 2015, July of 2015. Chuck Nasty's up for the 5th time. Double, foul out, ground out, infield base hit. He scored a couple of runs. Michael Lorenzen is the new pitcher for Cincinnati. Bonilla went 5 1/3, 6 runs, 8 hits. He walked 3, struck out 3. The line's pretty ugly, though. Between the 2nd and the 5th, he was dominant. Peralta goes 2/3 of an inning and gave up 4 runs on 5 hits. That will wreak havoc with your ERA. I understand that Tyler Anderson got some handshakes in the dugout. Jordan Lyles is up and throwing. Pretty good indication that'll be all for Tyler. Pitched a very nice ball game. It's kind of 3 in a row now. Tyler's looking a whole lot like the Tyler Anderson who was so good in his debut season last year.
It all comes down to fastball command for Tyler Anderson. He had it tonight. 2 mistakes. Home run to Suarez. maybe you can make an argument a mistake to Duvall, even though he broke his bat.
Charlie leans on one. Deep right center field, way back. It'll die about a step on the warning track, and that is the first out of the inning.
Lorenzen, arguably the best athlete on the Cincinnati Reds team. Former first rounder out of Cal State Fullerton. Brian Price has used him already this season as a pinch hitter. Hit a home run. Former starter, he's now coming out of the bullpen with the most velocity.
DJ a 2-run double last inning. He takes inside against Lorenzen. Changes for Cincinnati, behind by 8 runs. Scooter Gennett, the former second baseman of Milwaukee, is now in left field. Alcantara's at shortstop. Duvall's at first. So Cozart's off the field, veteran guy. Votto's off the field, veteran guy. Here's the 3-0. 3-1. Here's the Subaru strike zone. That 3-0 pitch just got the inside corner. That's low. Ball 4.
MLB TV Premium is back and better than ever. Watch every out-of-market regular season game live on over 400 supported devices. Visit MLB.tv for details.
Nolan a single, a strikeout, a walk, a 2-run home run. Fastball at 96. Michael Lorenzen a couple years ago, one of their top prospects. This ball's well hit to center field, but he got underneath it, and Hamilton's going to have a play. Nolan off camera was looking up at the sky because he got the barrel on it, just worked under it. 2 outs, and Mark Reynolds will come up. Mark quietly again. Spilly been on base 3 times, 2 hits and a walk.
He's giving those quality at bats. That's what Bud Black expects from him now that he's in the middle of the lineup. Just continue to give those quality at bats. Be a tough out. Take your walk.
Ball and a strike on Reynolds. Lorenzen strikes out Reynolds to end the inning. DJ's left at first base. Stretch time in Cincinnati. The Rockies 10 and the Reds 2. Time for the Kubota pitching performance. And Tyler Anderson is on the plus side. Pitched a very nice ball game. 2 runs over 6 innings, just 4 hits, struck out 7 and walked 2. So now over the last 3 ball games, Billy, 25 strikeouts, 5 walks. That's a 5-to-1 strikeout to walk ratio.
And he's getting the ground balls back. 9 ground ball outs tonight. That is telling you that he's getting that late depth with his pitches, and the changeup is working.
Yeah, the first 5 starts this year, his ground ball rate was in the mid 30% rate, which is nowhere near what he normally is. Last couple, it was at 52%, and based on what Ryan just told you, it's going to go up some more in the right direction. So here's Jordan Lyles. He'll take over. Patrick Kivlahan out of the 7-hole gets a fastball in the mid 90s, strike 1. Pat Falake in. He's at third base. So Nolan will get a break the rest of the way. Almarista at shortstop. LeMahieu at second. Mark Reynolds still at first base. Kivlahan's behind 0-2.
Pretty sure Jordan Lyles is going to be asked to grab at least 2 innings tonight.
And maybe 3. He may have a chance to get a 3-inning save. See how it goes for Jordan. But I know that's his mindset right now.
It should be. Don't give the ball back to anybody.
Pick up the rest of the bullpen. Again, the Rockies are in the midst of playing 20 in a row. Now, they had the rain out on Wednesday, so you played 2 yesterday, which always taxes your position players and typically taxes your bullpen. Good pitch. Guess it was a little low.
Right at the bottom of the Subaru strike zone. And I don't even think you need Tony Wolters to steal that for a strike.
Three and 2. Kivlahan fouls it off his foot. Kivlahan coming into this year had 21 at bats. Last year he got 5 with Cincinnati, 16 with the Padres. He was waived by the Padres in August, and the Reds claimed him in late September. Ball will find you.
Yes, it will.
Throws out Kivlahan.
You should almost expect as soon as you come into a baseball game that the ball is going to be hit to you right away.
One out, and that'll bring up Tucker Barnhart. You checked in on the barnyard lately?
Brandon Barnes?
Yeah. I
did. I checked in on him about 2 weeks ago. He was grinding down with the Marlins.
He's at AAA, right?
Yeah. This offseason, well, this spring training, he ran into Ichiro during big league spring training, and it would have been the first time Ichiro's ever really been on the disabled list. And so Ichiro, who doesn't autograph a lot, gave Brandon Barnes an autograph that told him, said, please don't hurt me, because he never wanted to go. He wants to play till he's 50. And so Brandon has this special baseball signed by Ichiro saying, do not hurt Ichiro, old Oji-san. Oji-san means an old guy.
Old guy, but good guy.
Yes, super good guy.
Barnyard's hitting .261 in 37 games this year in New Orleans. Hit 3 home runs, driven in 10. He's got 8 stolen bases, 24 runs, and he's having a solid year. He's one of my favorites. 2-1 and a bouncer to short. Amarista throws out Barnhart. 2 outs. Jenny, we mentioned earlier, and you were running around. Did you have a nice lunch today with your kinfolk?
All right, enough with the kinfolk, okay? The
What?
Kentucky family's coming tomorrow. You'll see them.
Oh, I'm looking forward to that. What's wrong with that? We're welcoming your family.
Oh, well, that was very nice, Drew. Thank you.
Yeah.
Well, let's go back this date in history. You ready for this, Drew? We're going to flash all the way back to 2011. The great Jambino, Jason Giambi, he goes yard 3 times against the Phillies. We mentioned Cargo did it here at Great American Ballpark, but that Jambino, he had some power. 440 home runs total in his career. 3 home runs in a game, though. I mean, even for the strongest of guys, it's pretty impressive.
I was in the dugout for that game. One of my favorite memories as a Rocky. I mean, obviously, I'll always put Helton's home run, but that day was hilarious because that was all the runs. Giambi was in charge of scoring all the runs for the Rockies that day, and we've never laughed so hard because the first one, you're like, wow, that was awesome. And you watch the old guy run around the bases. Then he does it again, and you know how Philly fans are. They start booing like crazy. And now Todd's sitting watching, and Giambi always had this disgusting first baseman's glove. You remember that thing?
Yes.
He's had it for his entire life.
Giambi, I'll let you embellish this. Giambi packed light on the road from a clothing standpoint also.
He wore the same thing every day, all right?
Okay,
Let's just say what it is.
Say it. There you go.
He wore the same shirt, same jeans, same shoes.
Billy Hamilton lines this to left, and this is into the corner. Jeanette, who just singled, is going to get a green light, and the throw to the plate is going to go off of Jeanette. Hamilton's coming home. He'll score. There'll be an error involved there. Turned into a Little League home run. It's 10-4.
All we know about Billy Hamilton's speed, it was on full display right here. First pitch, gets a little bit up, punches it to left field, and as soon as that ball starts rattling around, wait till you see this kid turn on the jets. And he's gone.
Yep. It's going to be a double. He moved to third on the throw. Actually, now they're calling it a triple, which is not the right call because he had paused at second. And he scores on the throwing error by Amarista. The 3 fastest guys in baseball. Hamilton's probably 1. Trey Turner, and then maybe D. Gordon. Not leaving anybody out.
Can't think of anybody. Aroldis Chapman.
Yeah, you know, and I know you're being serious. And we've told this story before. It's 2-0 right now on Arizmendi Alcantara. His first at bat is that Aroldis Chapman, when he was with Cincinnati, they said in a 60-yard dash, not a third, not, you know, running up the baseline because Billy Hamilton's so quick, but in a 60, Chapman would beat Hamilton. Ridiculous athlete.
Doesn't even sound right.
We've seen him take batting practice real early on when the relief pitchers would take BP. Aroldis Chapman, you know, would hit moonshots.
That's why members of the Cubs were upset last year when Chapman had an opportunity to hit late in the game that he didn't actually swing.
It's a bouncer to first, and that'll end the inning. 2 runs come around, though, for Cincinnati in the 7th. It's 10-4 going to the 8th. Brought to you by Southwest Airlines. Yes to low fares with nothing to hide. That's transparency. Spending the weekend in Cincinnati, Ohio. Good town. And the Rockies enjoying themselves. They're up 10-4 as we go to the top of the 8th inning. Drew Goodman, Ryan Spilborghs, Jenny Cavnar. And Cincinnati, to get them a little bit of work, they're in the midst of a 6-game losing streak. Their closer, Raisel Iglesias, is on. There's a minuscule ERA, below a 1 when it comes to his whip. His only issue is he's walked 10 in 21 1/3.
Well, Iglesias will throw everything at you. Fastball, changeup, slider, curveball. And I think when you look at this Cincinnati Reds bullpen, you may or may not see other teams copycat what they're doing. And I think we mentioned it with the Minnesota Twins in the last series, that they were using a lot of former starters, guys that have had developed secondary pitches. Not just 1, but 2 or 3. Not only that, using some former starters that have velocity to pick up multiple innings.
Whoop. That's not, I guess, what Stuart Turner was expecting. I don't know how you mix up the signs. There's nobody on base. Stuart Turner is now catching for Tucker Barnhart. The Reds carry 3 catchers. They have Devin Mesoraco also. Cargo rips another base hit. This one's going to run to the wall. Cargo's going to have himself a double. Cincinnati has always been good to Carlos Gonzalez.
That ball is blistered.
Now, he got the rally going. It was a 2-1 game in the 6th inning, folks. Cargo led off with one of his missiles to center for a base hit. And next time you looked up, the Rockies had put up an 8-spot 3-run home run from Alexi Amarista. A little bit later in the inning, a 2-run home run from Nolan. But it all began with that single from Cargo and a double right behind it from this man, Ian Desmond.
That single that Cargo hit in that 6th inning came off his bat at 111 miles an hour.
And that one had to be pretty close to the same.
I'm waiting for the MLB.com app to update the feed on that swing, and I'll tell you. That one was at 112 miles an hour.
The only reason those are hits and not home runs, well, home runs are hits, you know what I mean. It's launch angle, which is, if you hit that ball in the air at all, as opposed to being in the teens on the launch angle.
Yeah, it's the Ohio River.
It's in the Ohio River. It's taking a bath. 2-0 on Desmond. 3-0 on Ian.
The beauty of that swing for Cargo, did it look like there was a ton of effort behind it? Did it look like he was swinging as hard as he could? His last strikeout, he did. It looked like he was overswinging a bit against Peralta. But that one right there against Iglesias, nice, easy, trusting his hands, using his lower half.
Three and 2 on Desmond. And that's fouled off down the right field line. Desmond, former Silver Slugger Award winner, playing shortstop for the Nationals. All-Star last year as an outfielder with Texas. On the ground to short. Alcantara throws out Desmond, 1 out. Here comes the hitting star of the night, Alexi Amarista.
It's been a great night for Amarista. Big home run in the 6th inning with the game 2-1, 3-run shot right into the Rockies bullpen. And in that same inning, finding an extra single. 4 RBIs in the inning, 2 quality at bats. The little ninja.
And he takes ball 1.
I always enjoy watching Cuban-born pitchers. Iglesias born in Cuba. You see the Jose Fernandez 16 written on his cap. But you see El Duque. You see
Little lower leg kick, but there's some elements of his delivery.
Right.
I agree with you.
You just see, because I think when you watch the Cuban-born players, guys like that I've played with, Jose Contreras, obviously El Duque was another one, Livan Hernandez, they all have this rhythm to their pitching mechanics.
Two and one on Amarista. Cargo leadoff double, 1 out. You got to be a little bit tougher, have a little greater perseverance if you're a guy like Alexi Amarista, Jose Altuve, because you're going to get prejudged so frequently based on your size. And Alexi leans on this one to fairly deep left field. Scooter Gennett ends up making the catch. I was hoping Alexi could throw out a 5 RBI game. Hasn't had one of those. He's had four RBI games now.
Get on-demand access to the rooftop with the Rooftop Ballpark Pass. $96 for 8 games, includes concessions credit. Choose the days and redeem your pass from your phone. Go to rockies.com/rooftop for more information.
Tony Walters, a bunt single, 1 for 3 and a walk. And Tony bounces this one to first. Duvall's got it. Cargo left at second. We go to the bottom of the 8th inning. Rockies 10 and the Reds 4. Baseball on Root Sports is brought to you by Southwest Airlines. Say yes to low fares with nothing to hide. That's transparency. And by Wells Fargo. Wells Fargo customers get your 2-for-1 Rockies club level tickets by visiting wellsfargo.com/Rockies. It has been a good night for the Rockies. They're up 10-4, 10 runs, 14 hits, 8 of those runs coming in the 6th inning. And Jordan Lyles has the first pitch over, strike one on the catcher, Stuart Turner. First at bat for Turner. And he's behind 0-2. They did change, rightfully so, that triple to a double by Billy Hamilton, and he moved up on the throw, scored on the throwing error by Amarista. If you keep a book at home,
Turner was a Rule 5 draft this winter coming out of the Minnesota Twins organization. It's always tough for guys that are Rule 5 because they don't often get an opportunity to play. Goes down swinging on a changeup. So a guy like Turner, who's going to have to learn at the major league level without getting the at-bats, you constantly look at those type of cases and you think, all right, are you stunning this kid's growth? Are you hanging on to him long enough? Because you'll see organizations, they'll keep a player like Turner on their major league roster because you have to keep him on the team for the entire season, and then the next year send him down to the minor leagues to get the seasoning.
it's typically done by teams like the Reds who are in a rebuilding mode. Teams that believe they can win right now are less likely to keep a guy and eat up a roster spot for a guy that's not really ready to contribute. Brian Price, 4 seasons on the bench with the Reds.
Don't get me wrong, Stuart Turner is going to be a good player. Former 3rd-round pick for the Minnesota Twins. It's just for a guy like that at the major league level to get a handful of at-bats per month.
And to understand the Rule 5 draft, it does not mean that Minnesota discarded of him, didn't like him. It meant that they didn't necessarily have a place on their 40-man roster, and they're hoping to sneak him through, figuring, all right, nobody, we hope, will claim him, and once somebody does, they have to keep him on the roster or be offered back. 2 outs as Duvall bounces out, and that'll bring up Suarez. 2 for 3 tonight, including a home run for Eugenio. The Rockies have taken some guys in the Rule 5 draft in the past.
Tommy Kahnle was probably our most recent Rule 5 pick, where we saw him on the roster for the entire season.
Very close friend of LaTroy Hawkins. Why are you looking at me? It's good to see Hawk. He had fun broadcasting with Minnesota. He's wearing a lot of hats with the Twins. He's got to go in uniform coming up. He's going to be the bullpen coach for Minnesota, I think right now this weekend against the Royals. I think it's this weekend because their bullpen coach is attending kids' graduation.
I know they have Torrey Hunter and Michael Kadire all within similar roles in that Minnesota Twins organization, and Torrey Hunter.
Suarez hits this ball well to left center field, and that's off the very top of the wall. And it's going to be a double for Suarez.
Torrey Hunter is going to do the color, I believe, this weekend. And then later on, I mean, it's only natural you'd expect to see Michael Kadire. So, I mean, the Twins have these coaches that are actually, former players that work with the players, and then they mix them in the broadcast booth.
Yeah, each guy's going to do, I think, about 10 games. And you're talking about 3 of the most popular Twins in the last quarter century. Jose Peraza with 2 outs and Suarez at second. Both runs scored with 2 outs in the 7th inning against Lyles last frame. Jordan's first pitch in there for a strike. Peraza, a fly ball to center field, a couple of ground outs, nothing for 3. It's close. This ball's hammered. If it's fair, which it is, it's long gone. That is a 2-run home run by Peraza, and the Reds are now within 4. We talked about this a few times of late. The last thing Buddy Black wants to do is have to get up one of his late inning guys, especially Greg Holland. That's 4 runs in an inning and 2/3 against Jordan Lyles.
And that's exactly what's going to start happening, is the bullpen is going to start getting loosened up. Phone calls already down into the bullpen.
And again, any activity, every time a guy throws, you know, it's not game wear and tear, but it's not a total night off if you get heated up in the pen. That thing's a second deck shot by Peraza, his first home run of the year.
Short swing on the Subaru Supermo, pitch up in the zone. Peraza taking a peek to see if it stays fair. As soon as it stays fair, he started to run. Wasn't showing anyone up. 436 feet into that second deck. And Steve Foster running out to Jordan Lyles, partially to talk to him, the other part to give his bullpen enough time to start loosening up.
So Jake McGee's up. Kivlahan at the plate, and he takes strike 1. 0 for 2 and a walk. Two strikes.
All 4 of the runs against Jordan Lyles, obviously 1 was unearned, but have come with 2 outs.
And the 0-2, and this is a bouncer to short. That'll end the inning. 2-run home run by Peraza, tighten things up. 10-6 going to the 9th. Valleca will lead things off, and then it's Blackman and LeMahieu. New pitchers, Austin Bryce.
Another 3-pitch pitcher. Fastball mid-90s. I think throws a curveball and a slider. Will throw from a low 3/4 arm angle, so he's giving a different look to this Rockies hitters. Also has a mustache.
One other change to tell you about. Scott Schebler's now in right field. So first AB for Valleca. Quality swing, nothing in 2. He missed that, so Valleca heading to first base. 2-3 on the putout. It's always a strong sign that your offense has had a good day when you're still inside 9 innings and a guy's coming up for the 6th time. That's the case now for Charlie. Blackman a double and a single in 5 trips. Hit one to the warning track in right center his last time up. Started the day by hitting one off the center field wall. Rockies got 2 in the first. Nothing till the 6th, and then they threw out an 8 spot. The Reds have countered. They've scored 5 times in the last 3 innings. Nick Tyler Anderson at the bottom of the 6th for a run, and then 4 off of Jordan Lyles. And Charlie takes a strike.
That's a respect that the Reds have for Charlie Blackman. 2-0 curveball. Four-run lead is still a comfortable lead for most teams. 5 runs, especially in the 9th inning, is perfect.
Two and 2 on Charlie. Anderson on the plus side today. If he wins, the Rockies will have their 19th win by a starter this year. Tops in the league. In fact, tops in both leagues. Antonio Sensatella tomorrow looking for his 7th victory. Tim Edelman's going to go for Cincinnati. 3 and 2 on Blackman.
Ouch.
Austin Bryce actually born in Hong Kong. His dad was working over there at the time. I think Hong Kong is the only place in the world, Spilly, that has more skyscrapers than Manhattan.
When I was back east, and far east, it was every single building in Tokyo is a skyscraper. It is amazing how different life is in that part of the world. I enjoyed it, loved it, loved the cuisine, loved the people.
Yeah, I've been fortunate to. I've been through Tokyo. Don't know Tokyo, but I've been fortunate to be in the Far East a couple times. It's fascinating, and I know how much you enjoyed your experience over there. 3-2 again, and that's ball 4.
Good at bat.
And I think you did it, Spilly, at the right time. I think, knowing you as I do, that you appreciated it more than if you were 24 when you went over there.
Well, most guys wouldn't go over at 24 if they're from the States.
Let's go and check in again with Jenny.
Yeah, guys, Charlie just working a 9-pitch walk there. And in fact, I was talking to Dwayne Espy the other day, and he's watched Charlie grow up from the minor leagues, and I was asking about his approach, if it's changed much. He said Charlie's always been a really hard worker. It's just more focused, efficient, and purposeful now, if that makes sense. He's really taken the time to watch video, even his stretching, hitting in the cage, but all of it has a time limit on it. He said sometimes in the minor leagues he would do stuff just to do stuff, and it wore Charlie's body out. But that's where we're seeing Charlie being able to be an everyday player and an impact player. 104 total bases for him in Major League Baseball. That's pretty impressive this season.
Well, he's almost on pace for the unheard of Helton territory, and that'd be 400 total bases in a season. Tonight is game number 43 for the Rockies. And a chance for the second time this week to go 11 games over 500. Here's the 1-0, and a line shot down the right field line. DJ is going to stop at first. Blackman will go first to third. And that's an important run, Spill. You just mentioned it. Yeah, the Rockies were up 10-2. All of a sudden it's 10-6. But go to the 9th inning with a
5-run
more
lead.
than grand slam lead.
That's the way you look at it. You always look at the lead that you have. What can be the worst case scenario? And 4 runs is where you feel safe. Four runs, still a team can hit a grand slam and ties it up. 5 runs, all right, you got to hit a grand slam, and then we still have the lead. Raimel Tapia now getting an opportunity without a hit yet on the season to put a ball in play, hopefully in the air, and score this Charlie Blackman run.
DJ takes off, so he'll move to second. That's a free bag.
Well, and the Reds are showing you this is a 4-run lead in the 9th inning, how important that run at third base is.
By bringing their infield in. In a blowout, a lot of times you know, it's a courtesy thing. You won't hold guys on. You don't expect a guy to run. You'll play the infield back.
I mean, think about it this way. First and third, you're in double play situation, are you not? And the Reds said, all right, let's concede it. That out at third base. We cannot allow him to score. We won't take a chance with a good running Raimel Tapia. So we'll concede the base. And we have to make sure we don't allow Charlie Blackman to score.
1-2, Tapia. We'll work out of that crouch that you've become familiar with late last year when he's called up. Now would be a wonderful time to get his first knock of the year.
I'll take a fly ball to the outfield.
And I'm sure he would right now also.
Charlie's going to be running on contact and take his chance.
And Tapia swings and misses. The infield can drop back. And that'll bring up old reliable Mark Reynolds. That's going to be a frustrating walk back to the dugout for Tapia. He got pretty big there with 2 strikes, didn't he, Spilly?
It's not his normal two-strike approach that we're accustomed to seeing. And I think he's just trying to do something to get that first hit.
It's one of the strange things about the professional game. That's a strike. This kid was hitting 400, not over a stretch of time for the season down in AAA. But on the 2 occasions that he's been in the big leagues this year, he doesn't have a hit. So I'm hot as heck at one level and cold as ice at another.
Biggest jump in levels for anybody. It's not from single A to double A. It's not from double A to triple A. The biggest jump is from triple A to the major leagues. Takes it to a whole nother level. And as good as you are in triple A, you still haven't proved anything yet.
2 strikes on Reynolds. And a line shot, base hit for Mark, and that'll score 1. Here comes DJ, and he'll score as well. Mark Reynolds behind nothing in 2 gives the Rockies a 6-run lead again. He has his 3rd RBI of the day, 2nd and 3rd. He now has 38 on the season.
If you haven't started writing Mark Reynolds in for the All-Star game, please do it. You get 35 chances to write his name in, and if everybody does it, you might have a shot to do it. And I'll give you some numbers that make sense for why he should be in it. 2 outs, runners in scoring position, probably the most important situation for any good hitter. He's 9 for 18 on the season. That's 500.
I'll give you some more fodder, Spilly. He's got 18 ribbies, almost half, with 2 outs. Cargo takes a strike. He has swung it well tonight. A sac fly, single and a double tonight for Carlos.
And those 2 RBIs, when we listen to Bud Black in the postgame, he's going to talk about the jugular runs. Those 2 RBIs by Mark Reynolds, those are jugular RBIs. Game over.
One of the few guys with more 2-out RBIs is Mark's teammate Charlie Blackmon. He's got 19. And Cargo, a big chopper to first. That'll end the inning. Rockies need 3 more outs. They pick up 2 on the base hit by Reynolds. They're up 12-6 in Cincinnati. John's delivery of the game in a tight affair, a 1-run affair. Alexi Almarista came up in the 6th with 2 men aboard, and he hit his 2nd home run of the season, his 20th career home run. And then later in the inning, More traffic out there. And Alexi with a base hit up the middle, a 4 RBI inning for Amarista. Or Jimmy John's delivery of the game. Rockies up 12-6. And looking to get the last 3 outs is Jake McGee. Mark Reynolds has driven in 3 tonight.
Jake McGee asked to get the first leadoff hitter, Scott Schebler, the lefty. McGee this year, again, we always talk about the velocity being back for Jake McGee. We've seen it throughout the season early. Typically that big velocity, the 96s, 97s, 98s, don't start showing up until June. And I think when you look at this bullpen, part of the reason why it has been so good is because the arms are healthy.
Scott Schebler's got 10 home runs. You'll see him in the starting lineup tomorrow against Senzatella. First pitch of the innings outside, ball 1.
Schebler was part of the same deal that brought Jose Peraza over from the Dodgers. Todd Frazier going to the Chicago White Sox. Frankie Montas and Trace Thompson going to the Dodgers. And Peraza and Schebler to the Reds.
There's a name we haven't talked about, the deep Dodgers. Trace Thompson was all the rage the first couple of months of last year. Nolan's best friend. That's a strike. 2-2.
Trace, the younger brother of Klay Thompson. Because of that, Nolan often cheers for the Golden State Warriors.
That's going to be at least a single, and that's all, as Desmond got to it quickly. Scooter Gennett will come up for the second time. He had a base hit in the 7th inning. Rockies with 16 hits tonight. That's a season high. The 12 runs matches a season high. They've scored 12 times in 3 games now. They did it against the Giants and also against Washington. Scooter Gennett became expendable in Milwaukee with the emergence of Jonathan VR. Last year, that's the ball. Last year, VR played third while Gennett primarily played second, but they wanted to move VR to second.
VR is still a work in progress at second base, but he's some kind of athlete.
Yeah, he was a little shaky over there when the Rockies were in Milwaukee opening up the season. A strike. 1-2. Reds have been on the seesaw all year. They got off to a great start, 7-2. Then they went 3-11 over the next 14 games. Then they reversed things. They went 9-2. If the Rockies can get 3 outs here, they'll be 0-7 over their last week of play. That is strike 3 on Gennett.
Gennett does not like that call on the Subaru strike zone. It is a strike. Well located.
Billy Hamilton, a crowd favorite. Billy had a double and scored a run in the 7th. 3 strikeouts against Tyler Anderson tonight. Tyler struck out 7. Again, walked only 2, allowed just 4 hits. Billy Hamilton's already stolen more than 200 bases in his career. Pretty amazing. And he would have led the league the last 2 years. He finished second both years. VR ended up leading all of baseball because Billy the last 2 years has gotten hurt late in the year. Didn't get to complete the season.
The knock on Billy is always going to be he doesn't get on base enough.
But listen, he's hitting
well this year.
Right, around 260. And if he can hit 260, walk a little bit, the way he steals bases and plays center field, is a good player.
Last year had 321 on base percentage. This year 309. This might be a hit.
Yeah, this is going to be hard, and it will be. And excuse me, single.
Yeah, it doesn't count as a bunt. Still does not have a bunt hit on the season. Let's watch him get out of the box. It's about 4.5 seconds, a little bit under 4.5 seconds for a right-handed hitter to get down to first. And Billy, on average, is about a 3.8 from the right side.
You know what he is? He's stupid fast. I mean, that's ridiculous. I asked him last year, his football background. I said, what was your fastest 40 time? And he was in the 4.3s. Here's Alcantara, his second at bat, came in at shortstop for Kozar a couple innings ago.
I mean, think about that. 4.5 seconds is probably league average for a right-handed major league hitter to hit the baseball and run to first. And Billy's averaging about 3.8 seconds. It's almost a second faster.
And amazingly, it's just his 3rd infield hit this year. I remember having a conversation with Jim Riggleman, the bench coach, about Billy last year, and he works on the bunting all the time, but he, if you recall, he didn't have a lot of bunt hits last year.
He needs to go to the school of Willie Taveras bunting.
He got a 3-0 count. Devin Mesoraco is on deck.
And it's going to play out.
I know where you're going.
If the Reds get a base runner on, now you're looking at grand slam territory. That's why those 2 runs were so important. The entire feel of the inning, if this was a 4-run lead.
One of the interesting things about the Rockies this year is, great a start as it's been, when it's, you know, still a somewhat tight game with the Rockies in front, the plus side guys have been lights out. And there's been very little drama. But in some of these games where the Rockies have healthy leads, they have let the other club get back in it to a certain degree. And that's why Holland has had to be summoned twice in the last week in games that you thought there's no way he'd be pitching in. That's fouled off. Had a buddy just time it off the replay we just showed, which was real time. Had him down had him down the line at 3.58.
Billy Hamilton, yeah, it's incredible. So I said the average, his average time is 3.8.
And another foul ball by Alcantara. Yeah, Jake McGee was well rested. Again, the last thing you want to see is Jake go and throw 26, 28 pitches. He did not pitch yesterday, didn't pitch Wednesday. But alas, it's not a game of perfect. It's a game of imperfect. You never stop managing. You never stop going over potential scenarios. That's what Buddy's doing right now.
Yeah, and those scenarios are not scenarios he even wants to think about.
Alcantara's being a pain in the neck right now. Keeps fouling balls off.
And they have these numbers for McGee and all the other relievers down there when the drop-off hits for a relief pitcher. That's part of the advanced analytics. It's part of the stats, the proprietary stats that organizations have on certain pitchers. What happens to a pitcher after a certain amount of pitches? What does the batting average jump up to? And Buddy's going to keep an eye on that, because there's times where after pitch 25, the batting average against him, granted it's probably a smaller sample size, but it explodes, it goes up.
And the two runners didn't necessarily hit the ball hard.
Nope.
I mean, Schebler kind of poked one down the third base line, and Billy Hamilton's was a check swing.
Yeah, struck out Scooter Gennett looking. It's not like he's spraying the baseball. Reds are putting quality at bats together and forcing Jake McGee to work. You see where all the pitches are on the Subaru strike zone. It's filling it up.
And he wins the battle for the second out. On the 11th pitch, Jake McGee strikes out Alcantara. And now it'll be Mesoraco pinch hitting for Turner.
Jake just reaches back and throws the elevated fastball. That is something good to see from Jake. We love seeing that velocity, especially when he's getting into the 11th pitch of an at-bat.
Mesoraco with plenty of power. Jake fires one in there. 1 ball, 1 strike.
Mesoraco has been battling injury for the last 3 seasons. 2014 was an all-star year for him, 25 home runs. He's only played in 50 games since 2014.
Foul ball, 2 balls, 2 strikes. He had been one of the top catching prospects in baseball. And that great talent was realized in the season you were speaking of, when he had 270, 325 homers, 80 driven in. He had an on-base percentage of .359 at All-Star season in 2014, but he just can't stay on the field. 2-2 with 2 outs. Got him. And that'll end the evening. The Rockies win game 1 in Cincinnati by a final score of 12-6.